涙に濡れる哀れみ求め自分の価値を祈るでも答えは静か破れた叫びに青い空からはしごは降りてこない傷泣いた声が響く未来の登り大からのそう歌をささやくでもただもじゃない色に流れ希望を遠くに運んでゆく泣いた声が響く峰に登り天からのそう歌をささやくでも雲はただ矛盾灰色に流れ希望を遠くに運んでいく夜には人の境界を夢見る鏡の中で笑う声でも目覚めると寂しい石と雨空っぽに響くこの胸だから歪んだ翼だここに待つ闇に縛られた光の将来永遠に天の扉は開かない失われた天使 いつか恵みが咲くことを願う。だが夜は血にまみれた肌にしがみつき、全ての罪を思い出させる。開かない失われた天使ずっとあやにゃにゃ。
All right, gay boys. Shall we get to it? You should be able to see me now. How are we doing, chat? How is everyone? How's life? How's everything? I don't know if you guys have seen in my Discord last night. Proper fucking sad vibes. I made a short about the haunted Roomba story I told you about the other day. But it's a little bit under 3 minutes, so I thought it'll be good because YouTube Shorts lets you do 3-minute shorts now. Turns out that's not a fully rolled out feature, and only special channels have access to it, which I am not one of. So I spent all that time making that short, which in fairness it was not long at all, but you know, still wasted effort. Couldn't upload it to YouTube as a short, so I figured I'll throw it up on my Discord at least so we can enjoy it there. Too big of a file size for Discord. It's just sad, chat. It's just sad. I'm gonna have to put it up on Patreon or some shit. I have no idea. Hey, Poo Poo Head, how you doing? I know it's Popo Head, but I feel like Poo Poo Head is just, it's hard not to read it that way, you know what I mean? When you've got the mind of an immature 13-year-old. How you doing? We've got Ergi, Stepan, and I saw Diz here as well. Peepo was asking me to show Hog as well, but that's not quite gonna happen today. Or maybe it will, maybe it won't, you never know. How are we doing today? On the agenda, we've got an unfolding of the Kaceytron H3H3 lawsuit. It looks like Kaceytron has released a public apology. I have not watched this apology yet, although I've got, I think, 6 different quote tweets of this apology from both sides of the aisle, sharing their thoughts, and I thought to myself, everyone involved in this story is retarded. So we're gonna, you know, listen and watch together, and we'll see how we feel by the end of it. It's an 8-minute apology, and from what I've seen people say, I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently... Hey, Peepo, thank you. Thank you for the $3 donation with the caption OnlyFans minimum wage. It is actually true. I don't know if you guys have ever seen, but OnlyFans, when they do this like 75% sale or whatever the fuck, it's like $3 and you have access to absolutely nothing for it. It is grim. It is actually grim. I didn't know that's even the case. Slight topic change. We're going to get back to the stream content in just a moment. Slight topic change. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but on OnlyFans, I assumed the way it works is you buy someone's OnlyFans and then you have access to like an entire host of pictures and videos and you get to jack your meat like there is no tomorrow. That's what I was operating under the impression that the site works as, right? Turns out, not really, because I've told you guys this before ages ago. Ages ago, I bought Amaranth's subscription for a month and you get nothing for that. Nothing. Literally every single video and every single picture on there is pay-gated behind another layer that you have to pay for. And some of the videos were like over $100. So if you pay $3 to have access to Amaranth's OnlyFans, you get precisely fuck all for that. Literally nothing. You have to then spend hundreds on top of hundreds to actually get access to videos. And at that point, what's the point, man? Porn's free out there. Who pays that amount of money? You know what I mean? Anyway, bit of a sidetrack. Thank you for the $3, people. It's always appreciated. Have you seen it already, or is this a first time viewing? This is going to be the first time viewing. I haven't watched any of this because I much prefer watching things sort of organically on stream. And if I pre-watch and then watch on stream again, it's never quite the same, you know? It's very hostage video coded. I'm looking forward to finding out if that's the case. And then for later, we've got a debate between Lonerbox and the Misfit Patriot, and I was told that Poland gets brought up during this debate. So when we finally get around to it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably play some Honkai Star Rail in the background, and on the foreground, we are going to do debate reviews. Because it's fun, and because Poland's mentioned. And if Poland's mentioned, okay, I'm going in, chat. We gotta. It's, I'm legally obligated, it's part of my Twitch contract, that whenever there is a debate anywhere happening in the English language that involves the topic of Poland, I have to react to it. Otherwise, they don't pay me. That's true, but fuck around, find out. See, so far, that's been my conclusion every single time anything Kaceytron related was happening. Every single, like, unfolding to the situation, every single bit of discourse around it, all I thought to myself, yeah, do you know what? Ethan's doing some weird shit. Ethan's on some, Ethan's on something, right? And I will be honest, I don't buy the whole, like, this is grander than all of us, this is for future. I'll be happy if it ends up, like, creating court precedent, but I don't actually know if Ethan cares about that at all. What it is at the end of the day is just a means of sort of like his proxy battle with Hassan. But at the same time, again, this is, to me, a very, very classic of fuck around, find out. Right? If Kaceytron didn't want this to happen, it was very, very, very easy to make it not happen, I feel like. But we're going to get to that in just a moment, aren't we? Wait, there's even a subscription for OnlyFans itself? I thought you could only sub to specific creators. No, so you sub to creators to have access to, like, their channel, and then you have the extra ability to pay for things inside of that channel, and it's for the creator to decide if they actually want to give you anything for just having access to their channel, other than, like, written posts of saying, hey, if you want a short video of me sucking on a 27-inch dildo, here's the video, give me $100. And yeah, so for Amaranth's OnlyFans, that was a massive waste of money. In fairness, $3 ain't particularly expensive, but at the same time, it felt weird that I paid $3. I went on there and there was nothing for me to jack my meat to. Literally nothing. I would go as far as to say that if you went on Amaranth's Twitter page, for example, or her Instagram page, and just found a random picture of her in a bikini, you could have an easier time jacking to that than anything that I found on her OnlyFans when I bought it. So it was just like, it's just weird. At some point, it illustrates the, like, degree of depressed, I think, actual people who buy that shit are. Ethan's just been vindictive, very much so, yeah. The question is whether me disliking Kaceytron is going to justify Ethan's vindictiveness, or if I'm going to want to draw the line somewhere. I'm just curious, because I've seen people say exactly what Ergi just said, that this is very hostage-coded. So I am obviously quite curious. Before we jump into that, though, there is one thing that I wanted to show you. One quick thing, because I was scrolling through Twitter, and this popped up for me. And when it did, I thought to myself, bro. I had no good thoughts in my head. You guys know I play gacha games, right? Do you at least get to know how much access you will get right before subbing? I don't know if you do. I didn't know that that's even a thing inside of there. So to me, it was massively disappointing. You would have to ask Ergi, somebody who actually uses OnlyFans, I guess, regularly. Or ever, right? Like, I bought 1 month of Amaranth subscription because if I remember correctly, there was discourse about OnlyFans at the time, and I just wanted to see what the fuck it's all about. Anyway, so I play gacha games, and I try and sort of keep my finger on the pulse as to gacha games that might be coming out that might be of any interest to me. And one of those is Arknight's Enfield, which is supposed to come out at some point in 2026. I don't want to... I'm not going to talk too much about it, because to be fair, there isn't that much footage for us to even pay attention to. There's some CBT videos floating around, but it's like an old build, and it's kind of scuffed, and apparently they've improved a lot. I think there's a beta going on right now, but I don't have access, so I don't know. The whole thing, though, is that because I sometimes watch these videos, I will have other shit like that pop up in my feed on Twitter, like you would. And one of those videos popped up for me, right? I was scrolling through Twitter, this came up on my feed, and I thought to myself, I'm going to play this on stream for you, and I just want to gauge your reaction in chat, you know? I want to see how you feel about this. I'm going to pause music for this, okay? And I'm going to blast the volume. Let's have a look at Arknight's Enfield.
Erlika, you're already here!
Oh, shit, that was a bit loud. Hold on, let me maybe bring it down by half. There we go.
Erlika, you're already here! And I was... Oh, huh? Hold on. Is it my dream or the admin is here?
I have such a strong ew reaction when I see things like this. The sweatiest, ugliest gacha pig just started giggling and rubbing their belly when they saw this video. I don't understand the degree of filthy, chat, you gotta be to be into this. I feel like the moment I've got a little kid sniffing around me and then get flushed, I'm punting that little shitling right across the field. Like, the disgust and the genuine desire for me to create distance between myself and this reverse pedo creature is so powerful that if you were to record me kicking it in the face, you could use that in my football highlight reel video. It's just disgusting. And I understand the appeal here to the, you know, sweaty gacha pig that I've mentioned a second ago, but bro, I just ew. You know what I mean? Just ew. Why is it always shit like this in my video games, man? She's actually 5,000 years old. It's fine. Dude, it's not, I don't even mean this in like the lolicon-esque discourse. I just mean that, like, why is the common denominator always that they have to appeal to like the most pathetic, desperate, lonely motherfucker out there? Why can't these games just assume that people playing them are functional adult human beings? I mean, probably my guess is because a lot of the people playing them are not functional adult human beings. But yeah, I don't know. I felt to myself, I've seen this. It was cursed and disgusting. I do not like this. I'm going to show it to all of you and force you to have seen it as well. Fucking ew. Ew. But now that I've seen it, you had to too. Shall we move on to the Kaceytron video? Because I want to get to the Poland debate, but I definitely want to talk about this. So let's give it a go, shall we? Oh wait, hold on. Okay. I'm gonna. Oh, okay. It's like a 3-minute apology. All right. Let's see.
And by stating I take responsibility for infringing the content nuke. I want to begin by stating I take responsibility for infringing the content nuke. The lawsuit was not frivolous. When I said the lawsuit was frivolous and based on misogyny, it was to garner sympathy, protect my own reputation, and retaliate against the clients. This lawsuit has given me a greater understanding of copyright protection, people's copyrights, and the importance of protecting copyrights in the online content creation community. It is important for the entire content creation community to respect the intellectual property rights of other creators, and I will adhere to the lessons I've learned throughout this process going forward.
So far, so good, right? She did infringe on it. It's, so far, no problemo.
I also want to make clear that I did not receive any support, financial or otherwise, from Hassan Piker.
I saw a clip of this floating about. I thought it happens later in the apology. This 100% she received what she's supposed to read out from the clients, right? Because she's not including this off her own accord. Oh, okay, so the model bender worked, but for some reason it didn't move me down here, and it was supposed to. Actually, hold on. I'm going to move myself back up here, and I'm going to zoom in manually, because otherwise it's gonna... There we go.
Hassan never even reached out to me privately to offer words of support. Speaking honestly, I found his indifference to my suffering hurtful, especially after he hinted he might help me behind the scenes. It felt like he wanted to receive credit from the public for helping me without providing any. As to the GoFundMe money, to the extent there are any remaining funds after I pay my attorney's fees, I have agreed to pay the remaining funds to the clients. The funds will not go to anyone else, including Denims or Frogan, to defend their lawsuits. For the record, I have agreed to cooperate with the clients in their litigation against the H3 Snark mods for promoting my live stream to the extent that I am able. I will offer my support, including testifying under oath to everything I have just stated, to help their cause. I also want to take the opportunity to acknowledge other misconduct and bad behavior I have exhibited online. For example, weaponizing the death of Asmongold's mother was inexcusable. I should know better because I have 3 disabled people that rely on me. Moving forward, I will do better. I also want to apologize to the crew of the H3 podcast, particularly AB and Olivia. I apologize for calling them cowards for not quitting their jobs. That was a shameful attack on 2 people who deeply care about Palestine and Palestinian people. AB, along with his wife Lena, have done more than I have ever done for the Palestinian people.
Yeah, she got this from some. Yeah, there is this. Ergi, you know when you said earlier that it feels like a hostage situation, like sort of there's a gun pointed at her and she's just reading things out. I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Not even that I necessarily disagree with anything she said so far, assuming she's not lying, or rather whoever the handler of this is, lest I suspect it's Ethan Klein, is lying. But yeah, this is a rough watch.
Including raising over $100,000 in charity. I recognize that they have actually made Palestinian lives better, and my online antagonism and trolling has not. I apologize to Ethan and Gila personally. I have said extremely mean and cruel things about both of them, particularly my misogynistic attacks against Gila that never should have been said. I also want to acknowledge the pervasive problem of anti-Semitism in leftist spaces. It should concern all of us. I condemn it and will not participate in it. To that end, I wish the Kleins success in enforcing TED Entertainment's copyright and protecting the legal rights of online content creators.
I'm surprised she was the first to crack. I'm not. I was working under the assumption that if somebody's going to crack first, it's going to be Kaceytron. My guess is going to be that Frogan will too. And I know that there is a statement from Denims. I've actually got it pulled up here. We're gonna read through it in a sec. And I think Denims has taken it to court. Because the thing is, this is the most lifeless apology I've ever seen. I actually feel bad. When it comes to Kaceytron, I have consistently mixed feelings, I want to say. It's sort of like I said before, right? All of this to me is like a very fuck around, find out kind of a situation. Kaceytron did something incredibly stupid, and now she's paying the price for it. Her apology it feels weird. It feels like somebody prepared this for her and she's just reading out. And I do think that Ethan maybe put certain things in there, assuming he's the one who's giving it to her, that are kind of cringe. I understand why he's doing it, but I've heard people say that Ethan lied about how the aim here is so much grander and broader, and the purpose is to protect other content creators from greedy React streamers. And I've seen people say that him settling with Casey kind of proves that that's a lie, because otherwise he would be taking her to court and setting precedents that future content creators can actually use, right? I understand that argument. There's still Denims, I suppose, and Frogan, but I understand people when they say that. But honestly, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people who defend Kaceytron, and Kaceytron herself, are kind of just even worse. I'm genuinely out of sympathy for these people. Ethan's vindictive, sure, but bro, if the well-being of your family is dependent on you, then maybe think about that before you outright fucking admit that your stream is the waiting lobby for people who want to watch somebody else's content without contributing to them financially, and maybe then actually react to it instead of getting blazed and not talking for 98% of the runtime. Like, it's sad as hell that Kaceytron's family depends on her financially when Kaceytron appears to be a retard. And I don't know how this is anyone else's fault than Kaceytron's at the end of the day. I genuinely don't. Casey is dumb, but she didn't deserve this. I kind of disagree, Ergi. I think that this right here is kind of exactly what she deserves. I don't think that she deserves being taken to court and actually having her finances ruined in a way that might actually put her family in danger. That, I would say, is a step too far. The only problem I have here is that this is like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation for Ethan. Because if he doesn't take her to court, then all the criticism I've just laid out, which is that he doesn't give a shit about copyright and he just wants to vindictively go after Hassan's orbiters, that's true. And if he does take her to court and he ruins her financially, then even if he establishes that precedent, he's just ruined the lives of the people who are dependent on her. Like, I don't know. I would probably be a lot more empathetic to Ethan if he wasn't making such a mockery of this whole thing whilst he's at it as well. I don't know. Have you guys read the actual, the court filings? Have you seen those? I've read them on stream, but I don't know how many of you were in chat with me when that was happening. The court filings feel like they were written by a lawyer who's really, really into Rick and Morty, and for whom Rick is like the best written character in all of fiction. It reads like fucking hyper-intellectual playground insults. You know what I mean? Like, it reads like it was written by an emo kid that you kind of enjoy being in your class because you find it fascinating to observe how everything around them seems to die, but you don't want to be their friend. You know what I mean? Like, these do not read like they were written by an actual lawyer who is interested in being an actual lawyer. They read like they were written by somebody who always wanted to be a lawyer because they've grown up watching Suits, the TV show. I haven't read the newest ones, and yeah, they were kind of cringe. Oh, to be clear, I haven't read the newest ones either. I'm talking about the early one, the beginning ones. The ones where you had like 60% of them just be weird insults against these people that have fuck all to do with the actual case. The lawyers are the same lawyers that are doing a class action lawsuit against NVIDIA. So people, let me clarify maybe. I understand that he's gotten like very powerful lawyers. It's just the way how they file their shit makes me think less of them on like a very primal level. It's like how Destiny's lawyer is incredibly good at his job. It's just that his job is getting guilty rapists off of their charges. And I'm not talking about Destiny here specifically. I'm talking about his previous clients. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's good at what he does. I just really dislike him on like a human level. Let me catch up on chat a little bit. Ethan doesn't give a fuck about copyright for this lawsuit anyway. She literally outlined it in the apology. Yeah, but that's the thing. That's why I wonder if he's actually going to take... that's why I wonder if he's going to take Denims to court. Because Denims released a statement. I'm going to read through this, and actually maybe I'm going to catch up on chat a little bit first, and then we're going to read through this, because there is a lot to read through here, actually. Hey, Unix, how you doing, love? How's life as everything? Yeah, no, he's just been vindictive. He is. Casey has the worst case, so yeah, in a family situation. But again, the thing that I want to bring us back to when it comes to Kaceytron specifically, when on this individual instance, right? Because I don't want to relitigate her entire battle with Ethan Klein, but just when it comes to reacting to his video, she got so fucking blazed when she was watching it that there was a point in time where she didn't remember if she watched it live on stream. Like, everything about this is a situation that she got herself into. And if she's got people who are financially responsible on her, right, then she should be better than that. Like, come on, bro. Come on. Like, what? This is the thing that I hate being an empathetic person, because the moment Kaceytron started talking about her family, I was just like, yeah, do you know what, bro? Maybe we should fucking pipe down before somebody who's innocent gets hurt in the process. But like, people who are innocent get hurt in the process by people like Kaceytron all the time. The weed hit compilation was crazy. Yeah, dude, there is like a fucking species of LARPing weed smokers who, if you say anything bad about weed, they will fucking act. They will just lose their shit. And I feel like if you're dealing with somebody like this, there are a few examples, a few people out there you could point to when they argue that weed doesn't have any negative impacts on you, and Kaceytron is definitely one of them. If they don't fold, I don't see why he won't. The thing is, Red, but that's what it boils down to. If they fold and he settles, then he doesn't care about creating precedent, right? He just wants to punish them because he's vindictive. What should happen here, at least for Denims, if Ethan wants to stay true to his word, is even if she offers to settle, he's not going to accept that offer, and he's going to go to court and he's going to establish precedent. She's extremely stupid, but I don't think that's an immoral thing. I don't know. I feel like people like her and her stupidity say things about other people that we discredit because it's just some random fucking dipshit mouthing off. Because the other people who she says it about usually just sort of brush it off and move on with their lives. But Kaceytron has a history of saying some disgusting shit, man. Plus, there is a part of this apology, specifically where Kaceytron talks about how her being a troll and her being vindictive does nothing to help Palestinians, which is absolutely true. She's just... That's just how these people are. Anyway, I want to read Denim's statement. I paid Chris the minimum wage for OnlyFans and I have yet to receive hog. That's because you activated my trap card, people, okay? $3 gets you in the OnlyFans. Pictures, extra $100, okay? I will be Amaranth of this relationship. Denim Stevie, this apology, which I can only assume was somehow forced to extract a settlement, was painful to listen to. It is absurd and ironic that Ethan accuses Hassan of being a puppeteer while LARPing as a comic book villain in this way. While it is unfortunate that Ethan appears to have been able to exert control over her in this way, I am happy that Kaceytron was given the opportunity to minimize the harm to her family, avoid the risk of losing her home, and move on from Ethan's lawsuit. Same here, actually. I will say, again, all she had to do in order to avoid all of this to begin with is actually do transformative content, which is sort of the basis of being a React streamer. Now, we all fuck up at that sometimes, right? Yours truly streams on Twitch. I've had days when I've reacted to something and that react was not up to a certain standard. And if the content creator who I was watching and sort of not reacting to when I was supposed to would want me to take that down or otherwise apologize, then I feel like that would only be fair. Kaceytron put on an hour-long video on her stream, practically didn't say a word for 98% of it and just kept smoking weed through and through whilst telling people in her chat that they are there in order to watch Ethan's content without financially supporting Ethan through things like ad revenue. Dude, she also farted. I didn't want to bring that one up, okay? I feel like look, everyone farts sometimes, okay? I can't believe Ethan sent all the money from Casey GoFundMe to IDF. Oh, bro. Dudes, did you fucking slight side point? Did you guys see that Israel tweet saying that ceasefire was broken because two suspicious bad actors have crossed into the Israeli zone and they were promptly shot at and killed or whatever the fuck. And then you read what happened, and the two suspicious people were two kids playing around there. One was 11, the other one was 6. Like, Israel is just not beating the allegations, are they? Like, who on their PR team thought it's a good idea to make a post about how they just murked 2 children? Isn't transformative content super strict, legally speaking, though? Like, as far as I know, 99% of React streamers, you included, break copyright all the time. No, actually. It kind of depends on where you are. In some places it is, in some places it isn't. But React content isn't super strict, legally speaking. It's just very vague, legally speaking. The strictness of it largely depends on where you happen to be. You're going to have different standards in Poland, different in Germany, different in America, and I believe different between different American states. But generally speaking, live streaming, kinda. But I don't think that most people would, if you actually pause the video and you add something to it, I don't think most people, at the very least in the court of public opinion, would be on the side of whoever is suing the streamer. But if you are blatant about it, I mean, it is what it is, right? Casey was extremely blatant about it, but I don't think there's much you can do if someone maliciously goes after you for it. If somebody maliciously goes after you for it, there might not be that much that you can do. But generally speaking, people won't take it to court because they won't extract the kind of value that they're after. That's why people don't usually maliciously go after others for it. That's why you have absolute insane fucking lunatics fight this crusade like Dark Viper, right? And Dark Viper can never win, and he never will win. Dark Viper is unhinged beyond belief, and he's never gonna get anywhere with it. It is what it is. She fucked herself, not gonna lie. Yeah. Also, you've just reminded me, I need to make a note of this for Friday as well. I need to bring TTS back. I'm just gonna take a quick note, because I keep forgetting, but I'll get it done Friday. I mean, in America. Even in America, it would depend, I feel like, Ergi. Because Ethan had a court case over fair use before. Now, granted, it was different because it wasn't to do with live streaming. But the problem that you have is that even if you wanted to craft a narrative where Ethan's being entirely vindictive and he doesn't care about free use, and I think you could make that argument quite easily, actually, he's still correct in what he's suing her for. Right? Because she went full retard. And remember what Robert Downey Jr. said in Tropic Thunder. You never go full retard. And she did. I don't think that pausing thing actually has precedent. It doesn't, but it's not about pausing it. It's about transformative content, right? When you pause something and you add to it, you increase the total runtime in a way that might change the actual, might change the brunt of the sort of the experience. That's why you're allowed to watch something and criticize it quite heavily in all sorts of ways. It just depends. Like, I don't think we have very strong legal precedents for a lot of these things, but there's a reason why this industry exists and people aren't being sued into fucking oblivion constantly, right? Because you've got other things to consider, including public opinion. I watched a lot of Pisco streams about this, okay? I'm basically an expert now. This is the world that Pisco wants, where everyone's suing everyone else. I want to make several things clear. My trial date is 10th... Nope. It is the 26th of 10th, 2026. That is a long time from now. Fair enough, though. And I look forward to beating Ethan in court. While Casey, and likely Frogan in parenthesis, ooh, new knowledge being dropped, do we know anything about this, have caved to Ethan Klein, which is a decision I doubt they have made lightly. Settling like this is not an option for me. It is not an option for me because it would set a precedence that endangers the financial security of any streamer that creates reaction content. I don't think it does, but I'll be curious how the court's case unfolds. If you create content that involves commenting on videos on Twitch or enjoy consuming reaction content, you should be on my side. If you don't believe me, please read ahead and let me convince you. Crazy that her son never sent money to help Casey. I am actually not sure about that, D. Now look, I do not like Hassan, and I will take any opportunity to laugh at him and bully him a little bit. So if there is a clip out there of Hassan saying that when he supports Casey, none of us are going to know about it. And now we've got Casey saying that she never received any kind of support from him. She said it herself, Hassan never helped. Yeah, but that's the thing, that's the problem, D. She didn't say anything herself, right? Because she didn't write that apology. I have a strong feeling that there were very many conditions for them settling and very many details that were written for her that were simply required to find themselves in the apology. So I think it's perfectly possible that Hassan has in fact helped her out one way or another, and she's simply not saying anything about it because she doesn't want to get him in trouble, maybe. But I also think it's perfectly plausible that Hassan didn't actually help her at all. And I don't think it would be particularly out of character for him. I think that there's this thing with people like Hassan where I don't think he actually gives a fuck about any of this. It was a very profitable cycle for him. The drama was incredibly good. Him bringing Ethan to like a fucking mental decline to a point where Ethan was just crying on stream about what the fuck is happening to his life was incredibly profitable for Hassan, so he pocketed the money and he moved on with his life. He's got more important things to do, like flying over to China in order to do massive amounts of propaganda over a system of medicine that doesn't work. And that's more important to him than somebody fighting a battle over essentially a drama that he is the central part of. I have a feeling that all the non-opinion stuff in the apology was true. I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but I think that if we received word from God today, right this second, that some of it wasn't, I wouldn't really be surprised by that either. You know what I mean? Thank you for the 380 bits, Stepan. Also admitting that you're doing this just to take views away from the creator, you're fucking... that's the thing, though. Yeah, that's exactly right, Stepan. That's what makes her so stupid in all of this. Because if you have people financially dependent on you and you drop that info, it's this has Kaceytron saying, hey, If you want to watch Ethan's content, Nuke, but not give him any ad revenue, you can watch it here, and then playing the video, and for 98% of the duration, she just takes fucking bong hits, smokes weed, and randomly farts without saying a word through and through, is almost comparable in how epically stupid it is to when you have rappers who release an album where they in detail describe how they've murdered someone, how they've disposed of the murder weapon, and where their body is buried. And then like a random police officer goes to the area described explicitly in the song and finds the body and the gun. Like, you know what I mean? At some point, bro, you are profoundly mentally damaged and you need to seek help. And I feel like Kaceytron hit that point many a weed purchases ago. Hassan mogged him. Wait, Hassan mogged who? I watched and reacted to Ethan's highly anticipated content, Nuke, shortly after it aired. Make no mistake, my coverage more than doubled Ethan's video in length. Ethan's video spanned roughly 104 minutes. I spent 230 minutes reacting to, critiquing, and commenting on his video and the content in it, during which I paused 210 times. That means I added 120% of the runtime in commentary, on average pausing every 30 seconds to add 36 seconds of commentary. This is going to be the interesting shit that the precedent establishes, right? Because it's not just about pausing in and of itself, it's about what it is that you do when you pause. If you pause the video, talk about something that has nothing to do with the video, unpause the video, then that, I think, wouldn't be considered transformative. Much like if you pause the video, just insult the person in the video, unpause, that also wouldn't be transformative. But in terms of just raw minutes, she added a lot of runtime to the to Ethan's content, Nuke. So I'll just be very curious on how they actually line this up in court and the very specifics that they're going to discuss. Because I'm going to be honest, I've got a bit of a blind spot here because I haven't watched Denim's reaction to Ethan's content, Nuke, because I would rather fucking kill myself than watch Denim's react to almost anything unless I'm really interested in the actual thing that she's reacting to, and for whatever reason I can't react to it on stream myself. Ethan, I mean, I don't know if I'd use the word mogged when you've got somebody who you claim to be your friend literally experiencing mental breakdown in front of you and you egg people on to give you more money to throw more abuse at him. Your notification was almost noticed by a coworker just now. What's my notification? Is it the one about liking MILFs? I don't remember what I've put on there. I need to change that to something newer. He actually thinks this makes him look good. I don't think Ethan actually thinks this makes him look good. I think Ethan's sort of Ethan at this point is after blood, right? Because that's essentially what they've done to him. You have to keep in mind. Again, I'm not even telling you. This is what you have to remember when it comes to all of this. I'm not making a statement on whether this is true or isn't true because there is so much vagueness about it and so many people lying about it that I'm genuinely about as confused as anyone here in my chat. But Ethan is under the impression that these people, Denims in particular, were trying to get Child Protective Services to come in. Thank you, Stepan. These people, right, Denims in particular, were trying to get Child Protective Services to come in and take his kids away from him. People like Bad Empanada have played a video game on stream, which the purpose of, or in the video game rather, you play as a Hamas soldier going around killing Israelis, and Bad Empanada was commenting whilst playing that game that he's looking for Hila Klein to murder her. However you feel about this entire drama cycle, Ethan's #1 priority here is to draw blood. And assuming that these people did in fact try and take his kids away from him, are you surprised that this is what he's trying to do? They what? Well, Thijs, did you not know? Also, hey, how you doing, buddy? 14 months. Thank you for the tier 1 subscription and an 8-month streak. Let's fucking go. And, chat, we started a hype train. So if you've ever felt like throwing some cashola at yours truly, now's the perfect time for it. Try and not incriminate yourself, level impossible. Yeah, that's the thing though, Stepan, right? That's how stupid all of this is. Hey, Ray. Hey. I missed both letters for Omega Lil on the keyboard. That's a bad mistake there, Unix. There are only 2 letters for you to go for there. I do wonder if Ethan just wasn't willing to settle with Denims because of the stream a couple of days before CPS was called by Denims. And we don't even know if Denims wanted to settle, right? Or do we know? Do we have some information about this that I might have missed out on? I forgot about the Bad Empanada thing. This drama has been insane. Yeah, and also that's also the thing. That's a lot of this is just gigafucked. Jesus Christ, Shepan, thank you very much for gifting out 25 community subs. Sheesh. More subs than people on the stream, way more. Fucking 25. Hey, and Beans, Ergu, wow. Imagine not even being subbed to me. Imagine. Red Radius. That's like 3 people who are in here ain't even subbed. You are now, okay? You are now, thanks to Stepan's infinite generosity. Exactly 1 month from now, I'm setting a timer. Exactly 1 month from now, I'm gonna haunt you until you resubscribe. Disgusting. And again, as always, Stepan, you are absolutely amazing. Single-handedly currently keeping the stream going. Let's fucking go. I don't think Denim's called CPS. I don't think... I'm coming at this often from my perspective, and I think that if I was in any of their position, I wouldn't want to overdo it. You want to milk these kinds of situations, but you don't want to overdo it, and the CPS shit was overdoing it. So I don't think that she's done it, because in her position, I wouldn't have done it. But in Kaceytron'S position, I also wouldn't have admitted that my intention behind the react that I'm about to do is entirely malicious, and I hope to financially damage the person whose video I'm going to be stealing. I wouldn't do that either, and alas, she did. Denim said Frogan / Casey caved, but she won't. Well, yeah, that's what we are reading through right now. Pretending to kill someone's wife is wild, and they act like this is morally wrong to punch down. Go... Well, yeah, but that's the thing, Tice. Bad Empanada, to be fair, has always been like this, right? Bad Empanada has always been unhinged. That's why I think recently Bad Empanada was just being, like, weirdly transphobic, and a lot of these people have disowned him. But a lot of these people have also disowned him when they already knew he's unhinged, but they were more than happy to keep him around when he was going after targets they don't like. That's the thing. How many... There is, like, a fucking 4-minute compilation of Hassan just saying that Bad Empanada is a horrible human being, should never be trusted and should never be platformed, only for him to then platform, trust and endorse Bad Empanada when Bad Empanada was going after H3H3. Like, these people have no values. They really are, Ray. They really are. Poor shaming, very leftist. Look, there is a little bit of poor shaming that if it has to be done, then it has to be done. And Stepan gifting another 5 community subs. Jesus, Stepan, that puts you at 30 today and a total of 171 in the channel. And the level 6 hype train. Do you know what? We're going to do a slight topic change. If we're going to do a level 6 hype train, I'm gonna show you what my next YouTube video, as soon as I'm able to sit down and actually start working on, is going to be about. It's about Poland, and it's about this music show that got us into an international controversy and had to change their rules since then, because Polish people on that music show were kind of doing blackface, but like, in a way, we can think about this as cultural appropriation, but from my perspective, it's more like cultural appreciation, okay? Because listen to this shit and tell me that this is not absolute fucking fire, okay? Now, keep in mind, I'm gonna take a sip in just a sec. Keep in mind, this TV show is still a thing, I believe. It's just they don't do blackface anymore. I don't think they're allowed to do that anymore because it caused an international controversy. But they were I'm just gonna let you listen, and keep in mind that everyone whom you're about to listen to is Polish, okay? And none of them are black.
I remember serving sandwiches and crime allowances. Been this a nigga with some kind of fix, but now I'm counting this. Come and show in my account and list if I can down in this. You say, wait, my boo tastes like Kool-Aid for the analyst. Girl, I can buy it as the world.
said the truth for me to fuck out the shit. So I ain't holding out back, and motherfucker, I got 520 tracks. It's like that, that's a matter of fact. Cause I never hesitate, I put a nigga on his back.
Made up of this steel and I must say to you, yeah, I just come to say I love you, yeah.
Feeling nice, you're fighting for the night. Gotta get a thriller tonight.
Days
I love this one.
and rain,
Bro was really into this.
may all your Christmas be white.
Bro, I love being Polish so much. This is what I'm saying, okay? Unhinged? Of course. Did this cause an international incident? Of course. Did it make sense for the international incident to occur? Of course. But this is like raw cultural appreciation, okay? Maybe there is racism involved, but I prefer to think of a version of society where there is no racism, there is just love. And also, this keeps going, by the way, yeah? We're not done.
Tell me, now you know.
In this great future, you can't forget your past.
I forgot about this one.
So dry your tears, I said, and no woman, no cry.
Too much doesn't be crazy, doesn't be crazy,
Znakomity jest.
doesn't be crazy. Wow, so real.
Tell me, chat, how is it possible for you to watch this and have any other conclusion than this might be some of the best media that you've ever fucking consumed in your life? The point of this show was to reflect the artist across the board. You're supposed to have like a full-on makeover, right? Clothes, jewelry, hairstyle. You're supposed to replicate their voice. You're supposed to replicate their cadence. The whole point of this is to be as close to replicating the artist as is humanly possible. And every single one of these fuckers took that job seriously, downright to dropping N-bombs during the songs. And I'll be honest with you, okay? I find it impressive. Are there problems with this? Of course. But come on. Like, this is... Like, come on. You know what I mean? I know. This is what the next video is going to be about, and I feel like it's pure fire. There is so much shit happening in Poland that I feel like deserves to be told on a world stage. You know what I mean? Because this is just incredible, and it doesn't happen anymore because this caused a controversy, and they had to change some of their rules, so you can't have like this massive tan anymore in order to replicate the black skin color. Hey, Lua, we're talking about the Polish blackface. How are you doing, love? I'm smooth-brained. Don't worry. Okay, chat. Do we wanna have a just for Lua? Okay, just so that she can appreciate the Polishness. Do we want to? Actually, no. Lua, you've seen this, right? We don't have to watch the. There's no need to watch the whole thing again because I've showed you this, right? Yeah, this is just incredible. It's just incredible. Anyway, back to back to this, so we can wrap it up relatively soon. And I can move on to the debate. Fuck, sorry. This commentary length is substantially more than Asmongold, XQC, or any other of the many other streamers and YouTubers that watch the Content Nuke in full. As we know, Ethan decided not to sue Asmongold, XQC, or anyone other than the three of us. But he wouldn't sue them, they didn't intentionally try to deprive him of revenue, and you said yourself that you did this. This notion is frivolous and is a fabrication. Ethan claims he is pursuing his claim against me only because of some claimed malicious intent on my part. There are two statements that Ethan has falsely claimed demonstrate my intent, along with his conspiracy theory about collusion with Reddit moderators, none of whom I ever had any communications with. The first statement is my response to a chat message. I read it out, we're relying on you to stay live so we don't have to give the nuke views, and replied, yeah, I'm going to stream it, since he's confirmed it's coming out today, I'm going to stream it. I hope this is self-evident, but it would be bizarre for me to take that opportunity to bring attention to this group of people, and how they actually should watch his video on his channel. It isn't my place, I don't care, and making a big deal out of it would only encourage the zealotry that Ethan is upset about. I merely acknowledged that I was going to react to it and moved on. Drawing a broader narrative based on chat message I did not write is delusional. The second statement is a throwaway shill comment I said after the video before signing off. Well guys, if you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe and throw a prime if you like my content. As an aside, this statement is factual. Almost certainly, if somebody watched my coverage, they had no interest in watching Ethan's video without the addition of critical commentary and never would have. Regardless, this statement does not characterize my intent. At most, you can say that this is a mean-spirited comment in poor taste, making a joke like this is too far, and that Ethan Klein deserves more respect. We can agree to disagree. Both of these points I agree with more than I disagree with in terms of her explanation of it. Now, whether she's just outright lying about what happened, I suppose will come out. But this second part in particular, this I feel like is just universally true on Twitch, right? This bit here, because this is the same thing that Dark Viper was just laughably wrong about. If somebody watched my coverage, they had no interest in watching Ethan's video without the addition of critical commentary and never would have. POV of Ethan suing these people. I humbly request that we take this opportunity to question Ethan's framing of events and call a spade a spade. Ethan is bullying people who said things about him he did not like, and he can do that only because he has more money than them. In doing so, at least in his lawsuit against me, he is setting a disastrous precedence for our corner of the internet, and my hope is that others in our community with resources like Ethan's do not follow in his small footsteps. Please donate to my legal fund. Every penny donated has gone exclusively to court costs and fees and will go nowhere else. As stated earlier, my trial date is the 26th of 10th of the year 26, and I look forward to beating Ethan in court, ideally with your assistance. Thank you for your attention to this matter. What are we thinking, chat? Dark Viper has to show where the reactors touched him on the doll. Yeah, I just... Dark Viper is such a special fucking cupcake, man. But this this claim in particular, this is true, right? The fact that people wouldn't have watched Ethan's video to begin with, right? Not these kinds of people, not the kinds of people who watch denims, I suppose. As for this part here, I have mild disagreements, but I don't know how seriously I would take it. This bit, sorry. I don't think, like this bit here, hold on, where is it? Oh yeah, this is self-evident, but it would be bizarre for me to take this opportunity to bring attention to this group of people and how they actually should watch his video on his channel. It isn't my place, I don't care, and making a big deal out of it would only encourage blah blah blah. I don't like how almost every single streamer in existence has like this relationship with their audience, where if their audience does something really cool, then like the streamer was a part of that, you know? If somebody in my chat makes a compilation of clips that I like, then that is my community member, that is my chatter, that is my boyo. If they say something I dislike, then it is strictly not my responsibility to deal with this. I do not say a word. I just pat you on your head and hope that you throw some money at me. It isn't a bad precedent to set. It means you can't go watch me instead of the original creator, which is a good thing in general. I mean, whether it's a good or a bad precedent just depends on what the precedent's going to be, right? That's what it boils down to. All of these people given like... all laymen giving legal analysis on this, and I know that there is a lot, is just worthless, right? We need to see the details of the court case. We need to see how it unfolds. And frankly, I think that if this ends up hurting all like React streamers, then that's one thing. If this ends up hurting like the chair reactors, right, then that's another thing. Precedent doesn't happen if they settle, so I don't get that pointed. Well, no, because they're not going to settle, right? They're going to court. Oh, what do you mean, Red? Because that's what I was saying earlier. He can settle with Frogan and he can settle with Kaceytron, or he could settle with Kaceytron and with Denims, or with Denims and with Frogan, but he can't settle with all three. Because if he settles with all three, there is no court case, there is no precedent, and he doesn't give a flying fuck about establishing a line of security for content creators. I think he means Casey. I'm still going to need a little bit of an explanation on that one, though, because I'm still not sure what he means. Oh, yeah, this is a... We've already spoken about this. This is the bit where she says that Hassan hasn't helped. Oh, this is mildly interesting. If I make this big, is it going to be better or is it going to be worse on screen for you? Hold on, let me have a look. Not exactly better, I wouldn't say. I'm just going to keep it small.
Paulu Kingston, thank you for the 500. Shauna M.
Also, bro, some people out there have got money, right? I'm reading through some of these donations and holy fuck.
Elizabeth Adams. iDubbbz.
I didn't see that,
so
Red.
much separately. Wait, this is so funny. I actually never thought about this. Anissa's like, by the way, Anissa doesn't make money. We all know that. She's never made money. So iDubbbz is down here on the list getting cucked with the 420. Anissa spends $1,000 to get on the top tier list. I'm sorry, but I find that hilarious.
Also, I want to know this shit I want to find out more about, okay? Because I understand that he's reached an agreement with Kaceytron. I understand that he's talking to Frogan because those are the people that he's suing. Why are people like Badem Penada, iDubbbz, and Anissa suddenly donating to Ethan Klein? Is he, like, was there some kind of an agreement reached behind the scenes that we're not privy to?
Either way.
Gobi likes what he sees.
Either way, $1 is $1, and I want to thank you both equally for...
Apparently, Bad Empanada donated to Ethan Klein's...
especially Anissa, though, who obviously runs the
I'm going to see if I can... Yeah, there you go. Bad Empanada. Right? $500. Like, why? Oh, wait, hold on. No, no, disregard all of that. I went full retard. They're not donating to him. This is Kaceytron's GoFundMe. And Kaceytron, after paying her lawyer, said that she's sending all of that GoFundMe to Ethan. So Ethan's poking fun at the fact that they've indirectly donated to him. Now, disregard everything I was saying. I was having a proper brain fart on that one. No, it's all good. It's because I was thinking, like, what the fuck is happening here? But okay, it makes perfect sense now. Now I'm here. Now I'm with you. I saw shit like this as well. That's what I was saying earlier. Casey takes care of her parents with her income, and Ethan Klein has weaponized his wealth to sue Casey and blackmail her into making this ridiculous statement because he knows she can't afford to fight the lawsuit forever. Truly the most evil, childish man ever, allegedly. This is like an actual... everything about this for Ethan is like a damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? He sues her and establishes precedents, then he's ruined her life and the life of people who depend on her. He doesn't sue her, and then he doesn't care about his stated goals, right? And these people can just keep making statements about him. All of this is just stupid. There is another thing that is stupid. There is we're gonna watch this in full, and I'm gonna share my thoughts because I've got thoughts.
She doesn't know this, but this put her in a position for something that's going to happen in the future. I don't know if Ethan knows this. I think Ethan does know this. But I'm not going to say what it is because I want it to happen. I do. And I know if I say what it is, it'll lower the probability of it happening. I understand. I apologize for vague posting.
That's the thing. Asmongold's vague posting is annoying the shit out of me recently. I used to like hearing snippets like this because it gives you like this in feeling, right? Like you're part of the group, you're part of the, like, you now know a little something and you maybe don't know what it is exactly, but it could be something really cool. And then I found out that, just for example, Asmongold knew about Emiru's domestic abuse for months before that shit came out. And at some point, I have to ask myself a question of how much shit does he know that is happening behind the scenes that he keeps to himself under the guise of the massive cope of it's not my story to tell and it's not my place to say anything, and if I say something it might never happen. And in the meantime, he's like privy to some of the most disgusting shit imaginable in the background, and he just keeps it close to the chest. And it's just annoying. It's just weird. Like, either say whatever it is that you have to say on the topic, or shut the fuck up. Hey, Andres, how you doing?
But I promise you it will be worth it. Do you remember last time I was vague posting? Was that worth it?
No. The last time you were vague posting, we found out that you kept domestic abuse to yourself for fucking ages. Domestic abuse that, according at least to what Emiru then told us in that video of hers, ended up with an attempt, well, I shouldn't say an attempt, ended up with actual sexual assault. That's what happened the last time you kept things to yourself. Somebody who you consider a friend was in an abusive relationship and you kept it quiet. Who does this benefit other than the abuser? I don't understand this. I genuinely don't. And then you've got a shitload of five heads in the comments being like, oh, she doesn't know what's coming. You don't know what's coming either. Like, bro, can we reprioritize?
I think it was. Please have faith.
He's such a parasite. He's such a genuine parasite. Maybe because he's actually just a misanthrope? Maybe, man. Maybe. There was this one as well, from the Surfs. Really good precedent being set that a rich asshole can force smaller creators to make whatever statements he wants under the threat of bankruptcy while she's trying to take care of a family with disabilities and not have them become homeless. Yep, again, this is a good goal to have, right? To like help your family out. Big shame that she never thinks about it when she says dumb shit on the internet, though, innit? Feel like that one would, solve the problem.
Okay, let me pull this up. This is good. So
no, I don't think we actually need Ethan's reaction to this. I think now we can move on to the debate that Lonerbox had with the Misfit Patriot. Why do I know this guy from somewhere? Who is the Misfit Patriot? Why does the name sound familiar? Is he like a schizo and I'm just not remembering things properly? She could get banned for breaching fair use. If that's a vague post, banned, at least in my opinion. I don't think so, no. Although I feel like... are you guys familiar with... is it Nina Lin? Is that who I'm thinking of? Is that her name? Hold on, I've got that shit saved somewhere. I think it's Nina Lin. I think so. She is fucking insane. She got perma'd, right? She's the person who sexually harassed two dudes, I think, before Twitch decided to give her a one-day ban. Then she got unbanned. She immediately sexually harassed someone again. Then she was stealing things from Target on camera. She got banned briefly for that, then unbanned. And when she got unbanned, she went on a rant about how she's going to continue stealing from Walmart and she's going to do it again. And now she got permabanned. The whole thing is so fucking weird. Hold on, I'm going to find you. I want to show you something, okay? And then we're moving on to this debate. This is a super short segue. Not even a segue, just like a side topic. Because this should literally be like 2 minutes and then we can move on to the debate. I just want to show you this because these people are fucking mental, bro. On the topic of snitching on yourself, like what Stepan was saying earlier, is this, I think this is it. She's so weird, bro. Oh, yeah, this one. This is just so odd. Like, you watch shit like this, and you ask yourself, like, why do I bother with gainful employment, right? Like, why am I a productive member of the society if I can just move to LA and record myself stealing from Walmart, or Target in this case, and just make a career out of it?
Oh, no, he's wildin'. I'm telling you, bro, even if it was the stakes, bro, yo, bro, ain't nobody missing no fucking money, bitch. Calm the fuck down. No, Target is not losing no type of fucking money from some stakes, bitch.
Don't know
Ass
what's
fucking
happening to the
bum ass
connection
steaks. I
here.
don't give a shit. Matter of fact, put this on Twitter too. Your mom's a bitch, you's a bitch, and happy holidays. All you hoes is bitches. Go ahead, put that on Twitter. I bet you won't. I bet you won't. Just put that on Twitter. I bet you won't. Yeah. No. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck, bitch. I don't give a fuck. Happy holidays, whores. Yo, like, I don't give a shit. Oh, hold on. Oh, matter of fact, you want to make a news? I got these from Target too, guys. Look, I got these from Target too. Guess how much I paid? $3.99. Get mad, bitch. Get mad, bitch. Get.
Yeah, the energy here is just weird to me. I don't know what I'm watching. This gives like a very strong vibe of like the fucking Rice Gum special ed cousin. You know what I mean? Except I've dealt with people who went to special ed classes and they were infinitely more pleasant than the 1 minute clip we've just watched. Like, I don't... These people are just fucking bizarre to me, man. I thought Rice Gum was the special ed cousin. Bro, in my experience on this earth, there is always a specialer, edder fucking cousin of yours, you know? Brusit, because she's Asian. I mean, that's probably why I'm thinking of Rice Gum, but more so because she's retarded. I've been fighting demons in the bathroom all day. I don't know what's happening. Pray for my ass. Food poisoning, maybe? Oh yeah, Lua just said food poisoning. Maybe, but I don't have any of the other symptoms. Maybe like Lua said, maybe it's lactose intolerance then. Hey, Globalize, how you doing? Popo head with the red. I love that emote on YouTube so much. Dude, I watch Wings of Redemption. Technically, I watch the hate channels for Wings of Redemption. I'm not very fond of the dude, but it just makes me... Wingo has this new community member called Redface. I mean, I use the word new very loosely. He just hasn't been around for a very long time, but he's not like super new. And people just spam that emote whenever he comes around, and I love that Redface emote. It's just such a... That emote just makes me laugh. She does just seem like Rice Gum in a new body. She talks the exact same way. She's just very fucking strange. She also, like, goes around sexually assaulting people. It's very peculiar. She's one of... I can't remember what the statement was exactly. It's going to be a very rough paraphrase, but it accurately kind of reflects her, like, state of mind. I think she was saying that you have to be, like, an actual bitch as a dude to be sexually assaulted because you're supposed to enjoy it. Because she went around trying to touch dudes. And, like, they weren't having it. Which is just... I'm going to turn into Beckett. All right, let us delve into an immigration debate between Loner Box and the Misfit Patriot. Gonna speed this up a little bit. I'm gonna actually move us to the debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes, I said afternoon. This is an oddball, but this is a UK special. Thank you for joining us. I am Sarah the Raging Tomato here, bringing to you live another debate. The topic of the day is, does immigration pose a threat to the UK? Zach from Misfit Patriot and Loner Box are both joining us this afternoon. Zach, if you'd like to kick off with your opening statement, please.
Sure. Yeah, so this isn't like a topic that I normally discuss, which is why I think this would be a good debate. You have the American and just our view from it versus Loner Box, who actually does.
He's got the conservative classic flag in the background and a gun. What is this, a UMP? It looks like a Vector, sorry, not a UMP.
Does live there, so I'm interested to hear him, sort of explain his position, because as far as my position, which is the position of many people in America, is we see the UK as sort of a cautionary tale of what we shouldn't be doing as far as allowing in migration, because we hear about all of the statistics and crime and what have you. I'm going to go over a few of them that I looked up here. We got foreign nationals in the UK make up 12% of the population and represent about 12 to 13% of the prison population. So some might make the argument, well, that means that's equally represented for population versus prisoners, but that's 12 to 13% of convictions and prisoners that wouldn't be there if they had a tougher immigration policy. And I think that the comparison that we should probably at least entertain is between Poland and the UK.
Ooh, Poland, chat. Poland mentioned. And Poland's mentioned by a right-leaning anti-immigration dude. So you know that as anti-immigration as Poland might be, bro is about to fucking construe and misrepresent the living shit out of my country.
You have foreign nationals in Poland's prisons is 2 to 3%. So I think that that's pretty much where you can have, the argument be made that less immigration equals less crime, equals less prisoners, what have you. So as far as the immigration being a threat to the UK, I don't think it's about whether or not it is or isn't. It is. It's statistically just a fact based off of that. But the types of crimes that are going on in the UK, and I can't say definitively if this has contributed 100% to the immigration, but I think common sense and critical thinking would tell you that it's definitely part of it. The rape statistics are up 452% since 2002. Now, they claim that this is because of better reporting, but that's a huge increase, and I don't think that the amount of accuracy in reporting would bring it up that much. 6.6 million, it says here, and in Poland.
Why not? Just out of curiosity, because why? To put aside for a sec whether that's accurate or inaccurate, why couldn't better reporting explain that increase? Could we make a video thingy a bit bigger? I can make it bigger like this, maybe. I can put it down here if you'd prefer, or I can keep it up here. It's up to you. Which one would you rather? Bottom left, top left. Or I can move it around and now you can never see your eyebrows for as long as I do this fucking shoo, see? Now you will never see it again. I have you in the palm of my hand. Chat, $5 if you want to see the video right now. I'm gonna monetize the shit out of you. Well, now you can only see her. How about this one? No more boner locks for you. Down there, center. I'm just gonna keep it here.
800 to 900,000. Sorry, this is a homicide rate. Don't want to get the wrong statistics here. But either way, what I'm trying to say is when you have a area in that region that has a tougher immigration policy, statistically, all of their numbers are lower. So if that's the case, then I would like to hear the argument as to how it's even an argument that it does not pose a threat. I think that the argument that Lonerbox might try to make is it doesn't pose that big of a threat, or try to excuse the threat, or maybe...
Well, he said to compare it to Poland. Did he say anything else than that I might have missed, or...
explain away the threat, but statistically the threat's there, and I think that this debate is pretty much
permanently surprised. She might have had a facelift.
Hear what he has to say.
That's usually what facelift does to people.
And Lonerbox to you, please.
Because when she talks, the upper part of her face doesn't move at all, right? So it could either be like she's got her hair in a ponytail and it's way too tight, or it could be a facelift.
Probably don't need to do much of a long statement. If we're going to talk about like if there are just any issues at all with having immigrants in the country and you want to call that a one debate, that's fine. I think I'd rather have a more slightly nuanced conversation than that. The truth is that immigration does bring some challenges to the country. The question is whether or not those challenges outweigh the issues that come with not having immigration in a country. It seems to be that Western liberal democracies that have growing capitalist economies almost always decide that they would like some level of immigration. It just depends on how much and in which areas. Poland might have different crime rates compared to the UK, but you can also look at, say, some Baltic states, which have higher murder rates than the UK, despite having lower immigration. I think if you're going to use the American example, America's homicide rate is way higher than the...
Also, as soon as you... So this is the thing. I don't know if this is the case in the UK, because I don't remember it in the UK. And I don't know how you guys do your stats in America. I think America's infinitely more transparent than we are. But like here in Poland, for example, you will have heard you will have heard from people in the past, especially if you're Polish, that less than 5% of Poland is made up of immigrants, right? That 95% are Polish natives. The reason why they do that is because our government manipulates the living fucking shit out of certain statistics. So, for example, depending on which source you're looking at, I think it was in 2023 that this controversy happened, or it might have been 2022, but when they released percentages of like how much of Poland is are foreigners, they only counted people who are registered citizens. So if you moved to Poland and you weren't yet a registered resident, right, you wouldn't be counted in those statistics at all, like at all. So the percentages were just false. They were just outright manipulated. But because of the way how they present them, you have to look into that shit to actually find out that that's the case.
UK's. So trying to take immigration and use it as the cause factor of any particular social issue is kind of problematic. We can go into the sexual violence and the back and forth if you want. The fact is that we are a growing economy, we are an aging population, and the overwhelming consensus economically is that we need immigrants who are generally younger to contribute to keeping things in our system that we want to keep. Most British people like having a national health service. Most British people like having a reasonable welfare state and a minimum wage and everything like that. And we also like being in a growing economy, and an economy that has a higher standard of living than Poland or anywhere else in Eastern Europe that has low immigration.
Yeah, what the fuck,
one of the ways that we seem to get that is...
Poland has a very high standard of living, you racist bastard. We have healthcare and social safety nets, okay? And yet, it could very well, you could very well argue that the one party who wants to take that away from us is skyrocketing in popularity. But for now, we still have it. For now, it's still here.
It's from immigration. So, as far as if you want to talk about challenges, it just depends on the difference between not doing it. And I don't think the argument for stopping immigration has ever been particularly strong.
Perfect.
Lua, I already have a receding hairline, and my hair is too long, so even the thought of that is giving me the heebie-jeebies. You don't have a receding hairline, Beans. You just have a massive forehead.
Perfect. Thank you, Loner Box. And as a kind reminder to the audience, given the fact that this is a nooner debate, we will not be opening the panel this afternoon. However, we will get through our debate, move into closing statements, and then we will read and respond to your kind super chats. Gentlemen, I leave the floor open to you.
In a few years, Britt will be moving to Poland to clean toilets.
I'm not going to, play like a gotcha moment, debate me bro thing where you kind of have conceded that you've already given up the prompt, right? I mean, I've done this before where they claim the same thing for me. We can have a nuanced conversation, but the fact of the matter is the prompt is whether or not immigration poses a threat. And
how is the Polish healthcare compared to Danish? I don't know what it is like in Daneland, but the Polish NFZ is struggling right now. Polish NFZ has already run out of money that they were supposed to have until I think midway through next year, and they've been making massive cuts and increasing the queue times. It is not in a good position. Just to put it very bluntly, the Polish NHS. I said NFZ. That's what it's like. That's what it's called in here. It's NHS, the equivalent in English. It is not in a good position. It's very currently. I wouldn't say it's not in a good position. I'd say it's fucking bad right now. And you have to keep in mind that a lot of people in Poland, especially the ones who live in big cities, and people like myself, for example, have access to private healthcare as part of my work compensation, right? So. I'm not even using the NHS, and I'm paying for the NHS, right? Because I pay my taxes and shit. And the NHS is still struggling massively.
And we're both in agreement that it does. So you're saying that the cost benefit versus not having immigration would be worse, and I don't think you've presented an argument as...
I think, this might be... I might be chatting shit, because I don't remember where I've read this exactly, so just keep in mind that it could be slightly inaccurate. But if I remember correctly, not that long ago, there was a bit of a controversy, because some doctor's statement got accidentally leaked, where they were talking about, the massive queues on NHS, and somebody being scheduled for a surgery or a checkup in a very long time, and then that person saying that this is way too long of a wait, and the doctor said that the wait's going to be cut down a little bit because some of the people who are waiting are going to die. So just to add on to our current NHS situation a little bit.
to why, but let me give you one argument that has nothing to do with crime statistics.
Mind if I add something about NFZ in Polish as well? Drim, just in general, if the rule for English, it's in place, but you can... we've always... Let me try a different way. I've always had a rule where if you're struggling to express yourself in English, you can express yourself in any of the languages that any of the mods speak. And yeah, that's it, actually. Just full stop. So yes, by all means, fire away.
And the actual measurable threat, which is the threat of multiculturalism, right? I think that the Muslim population rising in the UK, don't have the statistic, right? I have it here, but I'm not going to look it up. But it was somewhere around 40%, I think, over the past decade or so. And with that, you're having a lot of people that I'm seeing in the UK.
If it's a 40% increase from the default number, what was the default number?
Explain how that's causing a degradation of society. Tommy Robinson talks about this a lot, and how essentially the UK is being taken over by Muslims. And I don't know where you line up on this, but I have been saying for a very long time, Islam is not compatible with Western values. Just based off of the sheer number of Muslims in the world, if only 10% of them are Sharia practicing, you have hundreds of millions of people that just do not line up with Western values. So having an increased amount of Muslims coming into a Western society and trying to change it fundamentally is going to create...
But that relies on the assumption that you've got that 10% coming over, right? Like, what? It's such a weird statement to make. Like, don't you have to... If 10% of the people who come over are bad, then you've got millions of bad people. Like, yeah, nice one, Chief. Fucking profound wisdom being dropped on us in real time.
A clash between the people that have already been there versus this new culture that is not lined up with their ideology.
So just to correct one thing that you said earlier when you were talking about crime, because I didn't think you wanted to stay on crime for too long, but just to get one thing clear about crime, you mentioned sexual violence.
Nie tylko NFZ ma problem, współpracownicy też oberwali cięciami. Fundacja, która się mną zajmuje, tak oberwała po kieszeniach, że mogę wymieniać maskę do inhalatora najwyżej raz na 6 miesięcy, więc jeśli coś się spieprzy, to robi się masywny problem. To translate that, what Drimson's saying is that it's not just our NHS that has a problem. People who work together with NHS, other organizations have also been hit with budget cuts. The foundation that takes care of Drim have let him know, well, rather they have taken such a huge hit to their finances that he can only have the mask for his inhaler, right? I'm losing the ability to speak English here. Can only have it replaced once in every 6 months. So if something gets broken in between those 6 months, you've got a massive problem. I'm really sorry to hear that, Drim. That sounds really, really fucking sad. I'm genuine. It's such a... The basic responsibility of a country is to take care of the ill people within it. And the fact that our government is so uncoordinated in such a fucking battle with itself that we have run out of money this early on, whilst politicians are being paid millions on top of millions, it's just disgusting, bro. I genuinely, other than saying that my heart goes out to you, and this is truly disgusting, I don't know what I can do to make you feel better. I'm just sorry that's happening to you, buddy.
Violence and sexual violence going up in the last 20 years. Do I need to show you, or would you accept that according to every government statistics database that we have, that Muslim populations seem to be about proportionally represented for those crimes? They don't seem to commit it any more than locals do.
Well, that's the point. You're increasing the amount. I mean, the total rape statistics in the UK rose from 16,000 in 2012 to 68,000 in March of 2024. They've increased 5% year by year and 452% since 2002. So if you're saying when you add in Muslims and the crime rate only goes up in proportionality to the amount of Muslims that come there, that's not an excuse. It's not saying like, oh, well, they're not doing it more than other people. You're increasing the amount of rapists that you're bringing into the country.
Well, it's just that people like Tommy Robinson would say that they actually do commit a disproportionate amount of it.
The problem's twofold. So Tommy Robinson lies about it, yes. The other problem you've got that Zach wants specifically Muslims not to be allowed to come in because there are more crimes that they commit, but they don't commit more crimes. It looks like their crime statistics are about the same or on par with other British people. So if you want to mount the argument that they still shouldn't be allowed in there because, you know, Anglia dla Anglików, then that's one thing. But at the same time, it's weird. Is it just Muslims that are excluded, or is it other people too? Like, what is it going to be at the end of the day? Tusk has been cutting NFZ as well. He's been, I am just not very happy with what the government's doing in general, man. What's up, Thais? Thais, you need to remember this. If you learn nothing else in Polish, this is the most important phrase of my brethren, okay? Polska dla Polaków, Anglia dla Anglików I Polaków. You got to remember, okay?
Like they commit most of it. So if we're okay on that, then that's fine.
There's an argument to be made. I think that's only like 2% of reported rapes are actually tried and convicted, and because of the culture of the UK, let me try to frame this nicely, where they are.
He is dead, and that is great.
Fucking Tanky was in chat and was debating in Discord on stream. Might have a fucking aneurysm listening to this shit happening in Poland. Yeah, it's. I mean, to be fair, Tanky's an aneurysm. Kind of just goes hand in hand in general. Naród wspaniały, ale ludzie kurwy. The one thing I dream of at night, like an actual fucking dream of mine, would be to one day stand on the parliament floor and paraphrase Piłsudski and just drop a very cheeky Naród wspaniały, tylko politycy kurwy. And just leave the place. And yeah, I might have to, you know, face some legal issues as a result of that. But at the very least, bro, at the very least, I could go to jail happy.
They're very weary of Islamophobia. One could make the argument that some of these cases are not being taken seriously because they don't want to be labeled as Islamophobic or targeting the brown population. So, I mean, I don't know if that's true, but I think that it's definitely an argument that people can make.
So are you trying to suggest that the per capita rape from Muslims is actually higher, but it just doesn't get reported?
It's a possibility, yeah.
You have any evidence for that?
That's why I said it's just a theory. It's not.
Well,
I don't have the evidence of that. I'm saying you can make the argument that because of the culture in the
you can make any argument, bro. Why do I have a gift sub to Merrick's? He has the boy kisser emote because Merrick's gifts us a sub to his channel every month. I have that emote as well. That's Merrick's are just cool like that. And Merrick's wants everyone to have access to boy kisser.
UK, where they're so terrified of being labeled Islamophobic.
And if you put it up in my Discord room, we might get around to it
hate
eventually.
Speech laws, or if you even call out a Muslim, there's one case where a woman was raped by
hey
a
Ruby,
Muslim,
how you doing, love?
Reported it and said some mean things about the Muslim online, and got a heavier sentence than the guy who allegedly raped her. So
you're gonna need to show me that story if you're gonna start.
I'd have to look it up. But and if I have that incorrect, you can fact check me later. But that's a story that I heard of. And what I'm saying is using common sense that the UK has a.
If there is a story like this, literally, I don't feel like anyone in here, nor Lonerbox, nor anyone in Lonerbox's chat, I feel like, is going to defend that happening. Obviously. Merrick's is our token femboy libertarian furry, and we love him. True. With a diaper fetish, okay? Gotta remember that.
An aversion to Islamophobia, where they're terrified of being labeled Islamophobic. If you were to say, like, okay, there's a possibility that some of the cases being reported are being dismissed because of that, I think it would be a good argument. But no, I can't quantify that. I can't measure that.
Yeah, well, just to clarify, there's no evidence that Islamophobia hinders people from reporting crimes. There has been cases way back like 10, 20 years ago with places like Rotherham and Rochdale where a couple of cops excused themselves by saying that political correctness was holding them back, even though their colleagues would often say otherwise. And another problem with the police more generally was that they were neglecting all sexual abuse victims in those communities way back to the 60s, even before there were any Muslims in these towns. So I'm failing to understand how in a country where prevent strategy was a thing, where we actually included policies that specifically targeted Muslims for counterterrorism investigations. And in a country where the arrest rate and stop and search rate for Black people is much higher than it is for any other ethnic group in the country, I'm just wondering why it's even a theory.
In the content recommendations channel, Drim, the one under stream stuff, and if you head on over afterwards to react for roles, there's some things in there you might be interested in as well. Hey Semi, how you doing?
That cops are being shackled by political
Welcome.
correctness.
We are watching a debate on immigration in the UK, and apparently this dude here, Zach Bonifilio, who is on the Republican side of things, brings Poland up a few times, and sort of misconstrues what's going on here, so I figured it's going to be pretty good to react to.
I think that it's a theory because of the, like, there's a cult, like I said, a cultural issue that we in America think that is going on over there. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but there's they're opening up Sharia courts. You have more Muslims coming into your it's parliament, and I think the mayor, is it the mayor of London? Am I correct in saying he's Muslim? I'm just saying when you have this cultural shift, right, where it's not about whether or not the women that might be reporting a rape from a Muslim are not doing that. They're not reporting it, because I'm saying that there is a possibility that, you know, maybe people are, when you have a rape case, it's pretty much a lot of the times he said, she said, and some people might be taking the he said argument.
So Sharia court.
The dude's not bringing anything into the conversation, right? Am I crazy, or has he not actually brought up a single argument that I can actually latch onto and try and like verify the validity of? Everything so far is just him saying like, look, there are stories out there on the internet, and if you choose to believe those stories, then you believe those stories, and then you feel some type of way about the people in those stories. Do you know what this feels like? There is a trend currently. It's happening a lot in Poland. It's happening everywhere, but in Poland it particularly pisses me off because I fucking live here. There are these AI videos which show you something happening that is supposed to rile up the like certain people in the population, and those videos are not real. They're AI, but old people and like people with like a much lower level of education, they don't know that they're AI. We've had a video, there was a video that was popularized by the Confederation on, I think it was the fucking imbecile Berkowicz that was spreading this as well. It's a video of like a black dude walking into a church topless and stopping the sermon by like yelling at the top of his lungs. And it's AI. It never happened. It's just not true. And it has hundreds of thousands of like upvotes and comments on YouTube with people being incredibly racist because they believe that some black person came to Poland and went into our holy ground and decided to interrupt a series of prayers by just being loud and obnoxious. Like, give me something to actually work with.
And the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, which cultural... Has Sadiq Khan done anything as mayor to make the place more culturally Muslim? Or
he had it coming. He is dead, and that is great.
Since when is American right wing interested in rape and sexual assault and not covering up like their fucking president? True. Dude, true. Bro, Trump has done like at least 17 things that, as far as I'm concerned, if they don't make you drop him over those, then like that makes you a bad human being. Like you have failed at being a human. What was the name? The name of the channel is Content Ideas. It's under a headline stream stuff, but as long as you can see any of the text channels, Drim, feel free to throw it up in one of those, and I'll have one of my mods drag it to the correct channel, and it'll be good. Hey, brother Christopher, how you doing, buddy? We are chilling, vibing, and doing a little bit of debate review.
Has he done any kind of policies that are...
How many Sharia courts have opened up in London?
There are 0 Sharia courts. There are Sharia councils for marriages that are opted into voluntary by adult men and women.
Okay, so Sharia councils are in the UK, and you understand what Sharia law is, yeah?
I don't think you do if you're acting like that's a big problem. What do you think
Sharia, so the imposition of Sharia law in a Western civilization is not a problem.
Depends on what you mean by Sharia law. What do these councils do, I'm asking you?
Well, I mean, the practice of Sharia law, it views women as second-class citizens. It has the ideology of these Islamic practices that are essentially widely barbaric. You know, there's just the entertainment of it, right? Sharia council in a Western civilization, you don't see a problem with that.
Well,
I hate these people so much. I see the problem with that. I don't know a lot about Sharia or about Muslim culture. I know a lot of the shit that I know about Muslims actually puts them in a pretty fucking bad light, all things considered. I am literally the #1 prime candidate to be convinced that Sharia councils are a really fucking bad thing, because I immediately do not like the sound of that. Like, I am in the proper position for this dude to tell me exactly why that's bad, and instead of telling me why that's bad, he's vague posting at Loner. The thing is, I know Loner. I have some disagreements with Loner, but by and large, I consider him a reliable source of information. So if Loner's initial reaction is these aren't a problem, I'm gonna side with Loner unless this dude actually finishes a fucking thought for a change.
That's why I'm asking you what these councils do, because obviously treating women as a second-class citizen, discriminating, that's illegal. You can't do that in this country. That's against the Equalities Act.
Well,
barbaric practices, I mean, are they stoning people to death? That's illegal as well.
They do that
what do these councils do?
In Sharia practicing nations, they still, in 2025, stone women to death. Yes.
Yeah, some of them do.
Yeah,
Does the UK,
exactly.
do these councils in the UK do that?
My entire argument is some of them do it, and you're bringing that culture into your society and saying, well, we're going to be different. Like, no, it's going to be, no matter whether or not you bring in 1%, 5%, or 10%, you're bringing that in and thinking, oh, what could possibly go wrong here?
They're a Christian.
So it does just boil down to Islamophobia. That is so boring, bro. I'm a Polish dude. I'm literally the prime audience if you want to tell me why Muslims are bad, and you can't do that. He can't do that, and that's his entire purpose on this debate.
Where it's illegal and punishable by death to be gay, but regardless of that, Sharia councils, what did they do? I'm asking you for the third time now. What did the Sharia councils in the UK do?
I don't know. Like I said in my opening, I'm
so why are
giving
you bringing out and appealing to the umbrella term?
I'm talking about
Sharia
There's
law.
the practice of Sharia law. If there's a Sharia council, we can assume that the people on the Sharia council practice Sharia law. Yes.
What is Sharia law to you? What does that mean?
You can't assume that because you can't practice Sharia law in the UK. You cannot have your own law supersede the national law.
Do you want me to look at it? Like, I mean, Sharia law is just pretty much well known by most people. It's a practice of Islamic law, right? Islamic law and doctrine supersedes the doctrine of the laws of the land. That's Sharia law.
If a Muslim comes to you and tells you that I practice Sharia law, I have to assume that they are doing every single law in the Quran. Do I have to assume that?
That's what it means. Yeah, that's what Sharia law means.
Is that what most Muslims are doing then? When a Muslim tells you that they practice Sharia law, they are
talking about most.
every single thing in the Quran.
We're talking about, not talking about most. Most Muslims ignore the doctrine of the Sharia law, but they don't call themselves Sharia practicing Muslims.
Yes, they do.
Not the ones that practice Sharia law.
In the next 2 hours. I can find you about 100 by tomorrow afternoon of Muslims who say they practice Sharia law, but they don't stone people to death.
So you're saying that some places like what is it? It's Iraq.
My best guess is going to be that what he means is exactly how you have people who are like really, really big into Christianity, but they don't actually believe that a father has the right to sell his daughter for as long as the worthiness of his daughter is more than 3 cows, right? Or they believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, but they don't think that a woman is not allowed to speak unless her husband permits her to do so, right? That would be my assumption here, that you'll have people who are Muslim, but they don't actually really believe in that much of it, right? There are just bits and bobs of it that they were like brought up in. I worked with a dude, okay? I will never forget, one of my fucking favorite coworkers that I've ever had was an Azerbaijani Muslim here in Poland, and his diet consisted predominantly of beer, burgers, and kebab. And I know for a fact that it did, and it wasn't just him chatting shit, because every time we were in the office, which at the time was 2 times a week, me and him would go to the nearest kebab king, because that was the only place nearby our office, and we would have a proper fucking filthy kebab twice a week. And we would sit down together, and I would ask him about like, what's it like in Azerbaijan, why they moved to Poland, all of like that type of shit, just like basic bonding with coworkers. And let me tell you, okay, he was Muslim. He identified as Muslim. He had it written down that he's Muslim, all right? Judging by his actions, not so much. So maybe this is what Lona means.
Where you can have a child bride at like 9 years old is a Sharia law practicing country, but then you have, you know, the Saudi
think you
Arabia,
can have
and they
child
have a more
brides
loose
in England.
interpretation of Sharia law. But in both countries, you can still be stoned to death for violating Sharia law. So what I'm saying is, you're having a society, you're having a legal framework,
Basically, Grimson, yeah.
for radical Islam, and you're saying as long as they ignore the radical parts of it, then we should accept it. I am arguing against that. I'm saying you just don't have Sharia at all.
The Sharia councils, just because you're not aware, the Sharia councils in the UK deal with marriage. That's all they deal with. They deal with marriage disputes, and they're opted into voluntarily by adult men and women.
Like
now, if you want to argue that there are issues with it, because sometimes issues emerge, as issues emerge in any marriage, then there are issues when it comes to how separated these systems are from the state. And the way that we solved this a long time ago with Jewish marriage, for example, was that we allowed and cooperated with these communities to allow their
As long as the Zach dude is against other religions doing this as well, I don't have a problem with his argument. I think his argument is retarded, but I mean, at least he's like consistent with it. Because I think that my hot take of today is going to be that church getting involved in your marriage is kind of fuck you, bro, okay? I ain't digging that shit. But at the same time, if you're an adult man and you're an adult woman, or you're 2 adult men or 2 adult women, illegal here in Poland, admittedly, but at the same time, I will allow for it, okay? You can tell them that I've given you permission. If you choose to get married under the guise of the church, right? Under the wardenship, I should say, of the church, and then you use the church to solve your marital issues, then I mean, that's your fucking business, right? Because you're an adult. I love how people are obsessed by radical Islamists who are thousands of kilometers away. Yeah, it's because they're scared of the idea, right? And it's easy to be scared of the idea. It's very easy. Like the big bad terrorist organizations that you hear of are predominantly Islamic, right? Muslim. The big bad terrorists that you hear of are predominantly Islamic Muslim. The big bad religious killings that you hear about are the big bad Muslims. Thousands of kilometers away from here in countries where we accept, like I don't think anyone here would argue that Sharia law is not completely fucked, because it is. You shouldn't want to live in a place that has Sharia law. There are big issues with that shit. But I would wager that might be why a lot of Muslims move here, because they don't want that shit either.
marriage systems to be incorporated into our law so that they can still so that things can't go underground. That's really the issue with Sharia councils.
Under Sharia law,
there's no one getting stoned to death. There's no one...
Under Sharia law, can a Muslim man rape his wife?
Is that what's happening in the UK?
I'm saying
by the letter of the law,
you
by
said
the
that
literal interpretation, I'm sure they could, but I mean, I don't know.
You said that the Sharia Council deals with marital issues. If one of the issues is a woman goes up to the Sharia Council and says, "My husband raped me," they need to have multiple witnesses, and they need to practice the Sharia law for that marital dispute. They look at rape as a marital dispute, not a crime. So, if
are you telling me that there are women who get raped and they just don't want to go to the cops because of their... it's illegal to rape in the UK.
Yeah, look, so yes, correct. But do you understand that the rape statistics in like Saudi Arabia are extremely low because of the culture of Sharia law, where if a woman does report it, right?
I absolutely adore the acceptance that in countries with Sharia law, rapes are massively underreported. But when we have an increase in rape statistics, it couldn't be because the reporting of it is becoming more popular because we encourage women to report, and men, when they've been sexually assaulted or otherwise raped. That one's, nope, strictly off limit. No. Now, like, we're going to talk about statistics when they support this dude's argument, but when they support Lonabox's argument, strictly off limit. Very much not allowed. Big bad. I'm terrified of Sharia, and I think it's a great threat. However, I only think this when I live in Iran. Do you know what, Pass? I feel like if you lived in Iran and you thought to yourself, do you know what, Sharia law do be kind of fucked? I would agree with you on that one. Yeah, that's... I wouldn't want to live in Iran. Dude, I'm a bold dude, and I would get in a shitloads of trouble under Sharia law. I wouldn't want to live in Iran either. That's why I don't.
She has to pretty much have it on camera, and if she doesn't, then she won't be taken seriously because they view them as second class citizens. So and part of their law, part of the doctrine is that a Muslim man cannot rape his wife. His wife is his property.
He had it
He
coming.
can rape her whenever he wants.
Had it coming.
Well, it's a good thing the Muslims in the UK are ones who either they
great.
themselves or their parents or their
All of them?
grandparents.
Remind me which country president is on the Epstein's list? True. Although, to be fair, probably the president of Iran would also be on Epstein's list if they knew each other. But as of right now, Donny, the rapist Trump. I think most of us can agree extreme forms of majority of religion is bad and shouldn't be encouraged. You'd think we can all easily agree on that, wouldn't you, Lua? But it looks like Zach Bonfilio has a different view on the matter.
Parents came from a country where that was much more easy to do, and they came to a country where it was illegal to rape your spouse. So again, unless you can show me any evidence at all that there is some kind of permissibility of rape happening in the UK that's significantly different to Muslims than it is to locals, you can show me.
Well,
It
what's
doesn't
the
bear
point
out in
of
the
the
crime
Sharia-
stats.
What's
It
the
doesn't
point of the
bear out.
Sharia Council then?
The point of the Sharia Council is because Muslims, like Christians, are human beings. They adhere to some parts of their faith literally, and other parts they don't. So there are Muslims in the UK who seem like they want to use Sharia councils for marriage. Some, not all of them do. Some of them do civil marriages. They go through Sharia councils for marriage disputes, but if they feel like a crime's been committed against them in a country where you cannot commit those crimes, where it's illegal to commit those crimes, then they've got legal options to that. They have legal avenues. And we have crisis centers, and we have women's groups, and we have the state funds a lot of these organizations to make sure there's outreach, even.
I really want Lona to ask him if he believes that these exact same councils, but for Christianity, should not be allowed.
In Muslim communities. That's actually one of the outcomes of the scandals that we've had in the last few decades.
But that's the thing, Beans. That's why we don't actually know where he's coming from yet, right? Because in order for us to actually understand his position, he needs to bite the bullet that these councils for Christians are just as bad. Because then his argument is that a religion institution which permits for certain things, such as, for example, marital rape, in a society where rape is illegal, has no place. And that is an argument I can get behind. That is an argument that I actually fully understand. We might disagree around the edges, but I'm with you on that one, Chief. But is he gonna do that? Or is it fine if the church gets involved? It's just not fine if the Muslim equivalent of the church gets involved. Isn't child marriage still legal in a ton of American states? I do not believe so, no. I think it's a little bit like no, I don't think that's the case. It's like how people say that in Japan you can get married if you're 13 because that's like the law in some individual prefectures, but then you've got like the broader law that is in place for the entire country, and that law doesn't allow you to be a nonce. If you have those proclivities, it's just lolly hentai that's left for you, I'm afraid. I mean, I say I'm afraid. In my opinion, that's already you know how I feel about lolly stuff, right? It's wouldn't make it illegal, but I wouldn't exactly argue in favor of the legality. Shit's kind of just disgusting at the end of the day. Irrelevant to this, though.
With the police. So I'm just wondering why you think the existence of people practicing...
I'd assume they have similar religious councils, talks with priests about family issues in Poland. Yeah, of course you do. You have those in the UK as well, and in Germany, and in France, Belgium, fucking Canada probably does those too. It's involving the church in marital disputes is not really that uncommon. Like, I don't understand what the problem here is.
Their marriages differently. It's going to lead to us having, like, it's going to lead on to the conclusion of what people getting stoned to death in the UK.
I explained it to you.
I will say this, though. Muslims in Europe are generally much more bellicose, and my guess is it's because in Europe, what the fuck does bellicose mean, you posh wanker? Fucking ooh, bellicose, big words. Ooh, smart, educated, fucking time him out right now. Bellicose. The fuck does that mean? And you've misspelt it. Dipshit. Uses big word. Doesn't spell it correctly. Imagine. Imagine. I will say this though, Muslims in Europe are generally much more bellicose, and my guess is it's because in Europe it's much more difficult for Muslims to integrate or assimilate than in North America. I'll be honest with you, so I don't know really that many Muslims. The ones that I know don't really have that issue. Bellicose, to those of you who are not as intelligent as me and almost pass who misspelt the word, is an adjective that describes demonstrating aggression and willingness to fight. Minor spelling mistake, it's over. True though, true. But no, Pause. In terms of my individual experience, I would say no. I haven't actually, believe it or not, despite what you hear about, like these people just acting like animals everywhere they go, I'm yet to experience like a Muslim losing their shit in public or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like that just hasn't happened to me yet, or anywhere around me, as a matter of fact. It's a rap. It's rap. It is. I'm sorry, Pause. You have to take the L on that one. You're English. Imagine not knowing your own language. You're English. Who the fuck are you talking to?
Said that if you have a Sharia council, then that would be based on Sharia law. And if it's based on Sharia law, then you just have to use common sense and critical thinking to say, why is this necessary? And if that,
oh, Jesus,
you don't
menswear.
see
I didn't
the
even know
problem
that it's only in the last 10
because you
years.
think that if a Sharia practicing Muslim household had a woman in it who was being raped and beaten by her husband, she would go to the proper, like, the proper police station as opposed to the Sharia council because it's a Sharia practicing household. Right, so she would go to the Sharia council because in Sharia law, right, they don't care about the laws of
yeah, Lona's obviously gonna have a problem with that.
Of the UK, of America, of anything.
Apparently they do, because most Muslims in the UK are law-abiding citizens. They commit about the same amount of crime proportionately as white people do. So using logic and critical thinking is, I would assume, if I'm talking about Sharia councils in the UK, of which there aren't many, to be clear, there are none in Scotland as well, despite us having Muslims here. I would look at those and I would see, what are they actually doing in those courts? If they're not doing an overall imposition of Sharia law and they seem to just be dealing with marriage disputes, and they do communicate with the state as well, and people are allowed to go in there.
I thought you had English roots? No? No. Bro, English roots. You should hear. Actually, my brother speaks English quite well. My sister too, although she's learned on the job, so to speak, no formal education. So sometimes it's very like kali chcieć, kali umieć. But generally speaking, they do well. But you should listen to like my family speaking English, bro. I just assimilated really well. English roots. I don't know why I'm offended by that, to be clear. I would absolutely not have any issues whatsoever with having English roots. I'm trying to figure out where that might have come from, you know? It's you racist wanker. You made an assumption that my English is a little bit too good and my speech is a little bit too fluent and I put sentences a little bit too well, so I can't be Polish. Because if I was Polish, I'd sound a little bit more like a fucking ape. That's what you've done. Okay, that's what you've done. You are racism, Beans. You are racism, okay? I just want you to know that you have come into my chat and I was kind and respectful, okay? And I was welcoming, and you are racism. Just absolute racism. Chat. Bully Beans. If Beans was in a debate about immigration in Poland, she'd have the American flag and a gun behind her, okay? You put 3 drinks into Beans, okay? And she's gonna be the fucking most Islamophobic brown person that you've ever seen in your life. She's just putting the ice in eyes, Beans. Yeah, I don't know if you knew about this. So this is a bit of a This is old Beans lore, okay? So keep in mind that this is a thing from like way back when, so a lot of new frogs won't know about this. But if you take the name Ice Beans and you move the letters around and you add a few other letters, you get Adolf Hitler. And that's why she behaves the way she does. She's not just descended from him, okay? She took his first name as well. The brownness is just trying to distract you.
And interview people and ask questions about them. The scandals that come out of here are people sometimes in underground situations being like unfair when it comes to marriage disputes and things.
To be fair, Polish people do tend not to speak English very well. No, Polish people speak English like everyone else does. The problem is that when a Polish person speaks English well, you assume they're not Polish. You are racism also. You are all racism.
of that. And then again, that becomes a civil or a criminal issue. That's not, but the idea that there's like...
Important context to this before law dropping. I'm sorry, I've already dropped the law. Wait, there is supposed to be...
Such a... Genocide is so... Genocide is like so... It's so time consuming.
It is, though, to be fair. It is time consuming. And also, I might as well add that into... I'm going to go ahead and download that clip and put it in the soundboard. Anytime I visit Poland, you all suck at English. You can communicate with people in any big city in Poland in English without any issues. What are you talking about? Also, to be fair, when you come over here, you're just talking to people who learn English as a second language, who aren't like trying to master it, you know what I mean? I'm talking about like Polish people who live outside of Poland. Like, we're about as good at picking up languages as anyone else, I'd say.
Women getting raped, and they're just allowed to by the Sharia Council, and there's no avenue to try and stop this legally, and they're living by their own laws. It's not borne out.
But the Sharia Council is a separate legal entity.
Ray, yeah.
That is
it's separated. Not a legal
entity.
No, it's not a legal entity.
Well, it's under their practices, right? It's not the Sharia Council, right? You said they can be interviewed and they can go in there and blah blah blah. All right, but the Sharia Council was created, like you said, for marital disputes. Is that it? That's the only thing that they deal with?
That's pretty much, yeah, that's the only thing they deal with.
Frisco's being racist when he mocked me by using an Italian accent for Sammy. I can't do accents though. That's the thing. I've never really had the ability to. I'm like tragically dog shit at accents. Anytime I try and do an accent, it always ends up being Italian. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just I just don't like Italian people, and I never knew, right? Like maybe. But yeah, I'm not good with accents. Never have been.
Okay, so
maybe sometimes like with lending money potentially.
Okay, so you have a council that's sitting in the UK. That council is created because
okay, racism aside, I'm genuinely curious. Do you not identify as English at all? I only ask because I tend to identify where I live. I am very much homeless when it comes to identifying myself as something, to be perfectly honest with you. Part of the reason why I was driven to streaming way back when was like a sort of like a sense of belonging issue. Nowadays, I mostly, like, my sense of belonging is entirely like driven from my sort of like family life, if that makes sense, right? Like my home life with my fiance, like everything that happens here. But the thing is, so I lived in Poland when I was a kid, and then I moved to the UK when I was still a kid, but I've already, like, I couldn't really relate to anyone in the UK talking about like the shit that they used to watch or the cartoons that they used to enjoy or things that they used to be, like they used to do when they were kids, because I wasn't there for that. And then when I came back to Poland, I can't relate to people talking about like the entire like process of growing up in Poland and like high school and university and like all of those dramas, because I did all of that abroad. So at the end of the day, when I talk to Polish people, I never fully relate. And when I talk to English people, I never fully relate either. I kind of don't really relate to any specific like strict ethnicity. If anything, the strongest fucking sign of me being Polish is the fact that I'm bald. And even that was not voluntary, okay? My hairline receded to shit. And then I just figured, you know what? I'm not doing the same shit that my brother did. Because I remember how he had it when he went bald. I just started shaving my head quite early on. At this point, I could very easily, like, get a tattoo of a swastika somewhere on my body, and I could pass for German just as easily as I could for Polish. It's, I'm a chameleon. Also not much into Polish music literacy. True. Racist against Vanta by sending a video of snapping spaghetti during a debate. He was annoying, to be fair. Shows with the I identify as homeless. True. It is me. In my country, you can visit any small town and they will speak perfect English as long as you're under 40. Are you going to... where are you from, Globalize? Just because I don't remember. Are you going to say America? Because if you're going to say America, I can tell you they cannot speak perfect English over there, okay? I've spoken to Americans. Trust me, bro. That's so me in Sri Lanka, tourist in my own country. Yeah, when I just moved to Poland some years back, I would walk into stores and I would start speaking English to the clerk. I had a few times where I would, like the entire time I was there, I would just stick to English because I didn't want to switch back to Polish, because on a different occasion, I did that once. I walked up to a clerk in the store and I asked for like directions to buy something, and the clerk didn't quite understand me. I had a stronger British accent at the time as well, because that was 3 years ago. So she went to get a different clerk who speaks English better because she didn't understand what I said. And when they've returned, I started speaking Polish. And she looked at me like I'm a fucking freak. And ever since then, if I accidentally walk into a store on autopilot and start speaking English, I'm just sticking to English. Because it's easier that way than to look at people like there's something wrong with me.
A demographic of people that live in the UK needed a separate council to deal with their own religious practices under Sharia law, because it's Sharia council. Which
speaking Polish is cursed? Nah, you're just not used to it. Also, thank you for the biddies. We can pretty much all fluently talk English in Denmark. In Denmark, bro. Yeah, we can talk English good in Denmark. Fuck off, okay? Paint another one of your buildings yellow. Suck a dick. Denmark. Ooh, Denmark. I don't know why I'm so hostile towards Denmark. Heard good things about it, to be fair, but I don't know. Just get wrecked, okay? And also, you have a population of 6 million. It's a tiny, tiny little fucking blip. Tiny blip. You could get, bro, Denmark has a population of 6 million and you're flexing that you can speak good English. There are more than 6 million Polish people just in the UK alone, okay? And you're gonna talk to me about 6 million is a tiny blip? Curious, bro, don't. No, okay? No, do not get me in trouble.
practices Sharia law, right? It's outside of the Western law, with the UK law. The UK.
You are being bellicose right now, Chris.
They don't care.
You've misspelled
about
it again,
the law,
bro.
They just care about
what are you doing?
Sharia law. That's what they're doing. That's why the council exists.
So they don't care about UK law, but the only thing that they practice is marriage.
All right, in Sharia law, if you're allowed to rape your wife, right, they will, because they practice Sharia law. They're not going to care about the law that says you can't rape your wife.
They will rape their wives because it's Sharia. Do you think every Muslim rapes their wife?
Did I say
Do you
that?
think every Muslim who says they adhere to Sharia law rapes their wife?
Did I say that? I said they can. I did not say they do. I said they can under Sharia law. It's part.
But then you also could without believing in Sharia law. Because this is like the idea of treating women as a less than, who are there to service your needs even against their desire, is sort of universal in both religious and, frankly, non-religious human history. Okay? Like, no matter which part of the world you were to go on a fucking time travel journey to, it just so happens to be the case that in all of these societies, at one point or another, people believe that they should just be allowed to rape their wives. The prerequisite here isn't Sharia law. Chris has a perfectly clear, full-on Polish pronunciation accent in Polish that, in contrast to his very clear English accent while speaking English, makes it sound weird, the lack of consistency in accents. It is consistent. When I speak English but in Polish, I will speak with Polish accent. But to be fair, when I speak Polish in English, I will still read it out with proper Polish. Yeah, okay, I can kind of see what you're saying. Look, it is what it is, okay? Szczepan, they're bullying me, bro. Are you just going to let them? Are you just going to let them do that? I was under the impression that Szczepan is my #1 simp, okay? And he's been real fucking quiet when people in chat are verbally abusing me. I feel some type of way about that. I'm just going to be honest with you. That's what I'm saying, Semi. Yeah, if that's what you want to do, you will find a million different ways to rationalize it.
Of their doctrine.
Do you have any argument about what's happening in these councils besides this might happen?
My argument is the fact that it's called a Sharia council. If it's called a Sharia council, it means it's under Sharia law. And anybody arguing for Sharia law in a Western civilization is completely ignorant to what Sharia law actually represents.
Okay, you can forgive me for being someone who cares about facts and data and information. Unless I can see actually any evidence of this happening, I'm just going to go with...
Okay, chat, I'm going to do a 10 pull, okay? And I'm expecting a 5-star to drop here. If you're going to spend so much time in chat bullying me, you're going to watch me do gacha gambling. And if there isn't a 5-star in here, I'm going to be... Oh, why did nobody tell me that the window for game capture is fucked? Hold on, let me move this so that you can actually... There you go. I'm doing a 10 pull, and I'm expecting a 5-star in here because you're being mean to me. If there is no 5-star, that's it. I'm leaving, and I will never return. We're going to get something good. You can tell by the music in this game. I can't remember which music this is, if this is 5-star or not. Nope. Nope. This sucks dick. I'm very unhappy right now. I don't like any of you.
Here's
that's
your evidence.
probably superseding the maybe.
Your
I
evidence
wonder
is in Iraq.
I think I can see the dichotomy here. What takes higher priority in the situation? Council law or law enforcement? If the council doesn't go to the police, then that would be a problem with the council, but that's not because of the Sharia law, strictly speaking. That would be because they believe it takes precedence over your actual law. If the victim was to go to the police will still help, right? Much like how if you went to a priest to tell him about your sins, and your sin was that you rape your wife, the priest would forgive you unless the priest went to the police, right? And at that point, it's... like, they might believe that their law takes precedence, but it doesn't actually take precedent. Like, they have no actual legal power. They can just tell the wife not to go to the police. And I'm sure that there are going to be cases of that happening, but then if the police finds out about it, they should unleash fucking God's hellfire upon those people.
And jump in. I wonder if the question... I wonder if the question would actually be, could a religious entity offer a standpoint for people of that religion, right? Because
do you think the priest should go to the police? I would. I've said this before, but this is so I think that the world would be an objectively better place if everyone had my moral code, but I understand why people don't. So, like, I've said this before, right? Like, there are things that you can do, and I'm gonna, like, run defense for you, right? Like, if my fiance came back from work one day and she was just like, yo, Chris, I've murdered someone on my way home, I'd be like, all right, what did they do? Where did this happen? Did other people see you? Is there any way for us to cover this up before the police finds out? You would be hard. She'd have to do something really unhinged, which she wouldn't do in the first place in order for me to be like, yeah, no, bro, I'm going to the police. But if anyone came to me, no matter if you're my family or not, and was like, yeah, bro, I've raped this chick, help me through this, then, like, I would help them through this by taking them to the nearest precinct, by reporting them to the police, and by making sure that they, like, have to face the consequences of doing that. Aren't priests required to not report? Like, you could talk about imminent suicide or homicide or confess to a killing and they cannot go to the cops. Like, maybe internally, but I don't know, legally speaking, I think they'd be fucked. In Sweden, priests are the only ones with absolute secrecy by law. They aren't allowed to report. Yeah, I mean, that sucks. I disagree with that. I think that you should report, like immediately. I think that if you are a... Here's the hot take. If you are a priest or a religious person of any, like, variety, and you live in a place where you can't report somebody, like, telling you that they've committed a crime, or somebody admitting to doing, like, some heinous shit because there is, like, the secrecy of the confessional or whatever, then it is your actual moral obligation to become, like, the Daredevil or Batman equivalent and don your suit in the dead of night to go and beat the living fucking shit out of them. It's either that or you're going to the cops. There is no in between. You're not allowed, in my worldview, to listen to somebody tell you about how they've raped their wife and just be like, yeah, we'll be forgiven if you just do 7 fucking Hail Marys or whatever. Nah, you're either taking this to the police or you're gonna beat them up yourself. Those are the only 2 choices that you have. Anything else, and I have a problem with that.
I would compare this to Christianity, Catholicism, Orthodoxy. Like, they all have their own councils too, right? So, but then Misfit, I believe you're going into it. It kind of overrides the rights of
Under
these
yeah, but under the
people.
Catholic doctrine, every
Oh.
Catholic teaching.
That works. I've installed a new thing in StreamerBot. If somebody makes a clip of my channel, it should automatically notify me, like it just did in chat. Pars created a clip with the title 6 million equals tiny blip ? So now every time somebody clips anything of mine on stream, we're gonna see that clip in chat shortly thereafter. That's cool.
Which would be something that you would get counseled on with your church or whatever.
That sucks.
And we do have
Dice.
separation of
That
like church and
sucks.
state, that just means no laws that would apply to the creation of a church, right? So you wouldn't be able to have a creation of a Sharia council here. You just have the churches, but there's no law in the Bible that says, well, you can rape your wife, right? So there's no issue of a Catholic going to a church for religious counsel, because nothing in there would be violating the law of the land, which is what Sharia is in conflict with. And like
That's not true, is it? There's shitloads of things in the Bible, especially in the Old Testament, that would be in direct fucking conflict with the law of the land. Part of the reason why people push for a separation of church and state is because, like, there is a lot of shit that the Bible lets you do that the state doesn't. What is he talking about? There are verses in the Bible which explicitly describe how you're allowed to sell your daughter, or how your wife is only permitted to talk under, like, specific circumstance.
I was just saying, you said, do I have any evidence? Can you, right now, in Iraq, marry a 9-year-old? Yes, because it's a Sharia law practicing nation, right? It's more extreme than Saudi Arabia. It's more extreme than certain other ones, but it does exist because they are practicing the religious doctrine, the religious legal doctrine that they impose wherever they go. Is it all of them? No. Is it a percentage of them? Yes. What is that percentage? I don't know. But even if it's a small percentage, that's too many.
So just to be clear, we don't have any evidence of this actually happening. It's just that it might do because it happens in Iraq. I don't know what to say.
The argument of no evidence. I love this argument. It's just like freaking COVID. It's like, oh, no evidence, no evidence. I'm giving you the evidence. I'm saying Sharia law exists. We can all agree on that. That's the evidence. In Sharia law, you can rape your wife. You can marry a 9-year-old. That's the evidence. This is not contested. That's my evidence. What you want is you want me to give you a specific case that I can pull up, where I don't need to. I just answer.
His argument just relies on religious extremism, right? Which, again, I think that if somebody's a religious extremist, you should, like, get rid of them, right? You shouldn't allow that shit in your country. Any form of religious extremism is going to be extremely damaging to, like, the fabric of our society. I don't know why it's specifically Muslims that are the problem, though.
Your question. Yes, the evidence is Sharia law does not align with any Western value system or any legal framework in any Western nation. And
Christian nationalism doesn't align with any of it either. And dude was citing Tommy Robinson earlier.
You're admitting that they have Sharia councils.
How are we supposed to get rid of them? Do you mean the religious extremists from my example a second ago? I mean, any way that's available to us, legally speaking, right? If, yeah, just any way that legally you're allowed to. Like, deportation, if they are from a country that you could deport them to, obviously. If they're domestic, then, like, imprisonment, jail time, literally anything available at your disposal. Just, like, if you're a religious extremist and you are... Sorry, when I say religious extremist, I do want to, like, make it clear as well. I'm talking about people who have, like, some intention or, like, some desire to act on it as well. Not, like, random people making fucking Twitter posts. I don't necessarily think you should imprison people for speech. Maybe if it gets to a certain point, right? Like, maybe stochastic terrorism level type shit. But I'm saying that, like, people who want to enact religious extremism, right? Because, obviously, people who just talk, then that's, like, people who have... Like, you would approach them in the way you do terrorists, right?
The UK, which would follow Sharia law. It's crazy that we're even getting into this.
Crazy that you introduced this topic and you didn't even know what the Sharia councils in the UK did. You just said the word Sharia like it was a buzz term. If you think they don't care about British law, by the way, why is it that the majority of sheikhs in these Sharia courts in these councils are actually willing to bring themselves under in conjunction with British law in the Marriage Act? Why do they want to do that?
That's what I'm saying. The moment they start planning for it, Lua, you can, right? With terrorism specifically, you have things in place that let you jump in before they actually do something. If you're able to build a case for how the plans for it are tangible, so to speak. Like, you wouldn't be able to do anything about somebody saying that he believes that you should take away women's rights because in his religious worldview, women don't get a say. But if, for example, that person had a wife and he did something like illegal to her and that would be permitted under the guise of like their religion, then obviously he can act, right? Or like if somebody or planning doesn't equal religious extremism. No, what I'm saying, if you have religious extremists, you need to get rid of them. If you have legal means of doing so, then use the legal means. For the ones where we're just talking about like thought crime, then you would ideally do it through educating your society one way or another, so that when one of those freaks pops up, everyone just shuts them the fuck down and doesn't listen to any of that bollocks. But that's what it means, right? To use anything that you legally can that is at your disposal. Because you'd approach them like you would right now, really.
What? I'm sorry. When did they do this?
In the same way that Jewish people in the UK, that Jewish marriage is recognized by the state. So that means that the Jewish councils, the state basically cooperates with the Jewish councils.
Most religious extremists aren't doing illegal shit, though. Well, yeah, so against those, you wouldn't have anything legally that you can do, right? So the other side of it kicks in, where you educate your populace so that they're immune to, like, this populist religious bullshit, right? Because a lot of that is rooted in fear.
Councils to set a nationwide standard on how to conduct marriage and marriage disputes and how marriages are conducted, then Muslims want the same thing. So they want to come within the reason that they operate the way they do now in the more underground way is because Islamic marriage is not recognized, whereas Jewish is. But they want to come into cooperation with the state. That's what they're campaigning for. Most of them want that. So if they don't care about British law, why are they literally trying to bring themselves closer to British law? Like, it doesn't make any sense. You don't know what you're talking about.
No,
you don't know anything about these councils.
No, it's not a secret that that Islamic Muslim communities want to integrate into the political system of the places that they're occupying. That's been done here. It's been done in the UK. It's done everywhere they go. What I'm saying is that their religious beliefs do not align with Western values. So I'm saying you shouldn't do that, right?
But you're aware that if they did integrate their marriages within the Marriage Act in the UK, that means it would be easier for Muslim women to get a divorce than it would be in the underground system, right?
Or they could essentially make it more, they could bring it closer, the entire system closer to
globalized. That's just basic free speech, right?
So,
How?
Because under Sharia law, right, there are practices where they will want the rest of the country to be more aligned with them, like child brides.
So if they get their marriages recognized by the state, and that means it's easier for women to seek out divorces through the civil courts, then that's going to lead to them trying to get stoning legalized?
Well, no. Didn't you say that they were already under that? Like they're separated from the law currently. The Sharia courts are.
I don't know about love, Lua. I just acknowledge that there is literally no better option, right? Like you have to respect free speech, otherwise you fuck yourself in the ass in like 17 different ways that are infinitely more unpleasant than whoever's speech it is that you are trying to cancel. But I don't know if I love it. I appreciate it.
Essentially just for the religious practices only. They don't apply to the actual law under the UK, right?
I can read off quick overview. Sharia councils in the UK provide advisory and non-binding rulings on civil matters such as divorce, marriage, and inheritance from an Islamic perspective. They are not formal courts, and their decisions have no legal standing under UK law. Instead, they serve as voluntary forums for Muslims to seek advice and resolutions they align with their faith. It does say that they are provided as a guidance council to the UK government. That was a piece of it, but everything else is just dealing with stuff on the home front and offering guidance.
Yeah, so my point is there's if they want to get integrated into the law in the UK, that would be bringing the law in the UK. They would want to bring the law that's in the UK closer to their values. And you're arguing that
being arrested over musical records is a new low. Wait, did that happen here in Poland? Or because that feels like a very specific thing to bring up, Drim. Did I miss something?
that would mean that it would go in the opposite direction.
Oh, in the UK,
Right?
Well, have we gone
unhinged.
closer to Jewish values because we recognize Jewish marriage as a minority? Is Israel closer to Islamic values because they recognize marriages that are conducted by sheikhs in the Arab villages?
I'm not understanding that comparison.
They want their marriages to be recognized so that it's just easier for them to have the process happening through the state in a uniform way. That's not going to bring us closer to Islamic values. It's like non-Muslims are going to decide to get Muslim marriages.
So are you saying that you can't get married? You can't have that marriage now in the UK?
They can, but it's not recognized by the state. So it would be like if we had some random cult that wants to get married in a way that the state doesn't really acknowledge. So then they just go and they just find a random hilltop and do it and have their own little system.
Okay, and what kind of marriage is not recognized that they want to be recognized?
They want to. So
there was a UK streamer, dude, who had the police stop by during a stream because he once called a chatter a rapist. Yeah, dude, I have no idea what the fuck the police in the UK is doing with like these cases, because I've heard of stuff like that happening as well. It is so unbelievably unhinged. And there is more, like, you hear enough of these stories where it makes you wonder, like, why? Like, why is any of this happening? Are they genuinely oblivious to what it fucking sounds like? I don't know. I have no idea what the fuck is happening with police in the UK. I mean, what was this was massive discourse way back when. Do you guys remember when Count Dankula taught his pug how to do a Nazi salute? And he had a court case about it. Like, dude, that is unbelievably unhinged. Yeah, despite his ex, not even his ex, they were a couple at the time. Like, his girlfriend loved the pug that they had, and he wanted to teach the pug something disgusting to like fuck with his girlfriend, and he taught the pug to react to Heil Hitler by raising his paw. Like, it was genuinely funny, and somehow it turned into a court case.
Most of them seem to be okay with the idea of bringing Islamic marriage into the same status as Jewish marriage in the UK.
Okay,
like it's recognized by the Marriage Act.
And
it's just recognized.
Where does that divert from current current UK marriage law? Like, what is the difference? What's the difference between their version of marriage and the one that they want?
Because their marriage isn't recognized by the state, so it would be
what
to do
kind
with
of marriage?
Their Islamic marriage. What do you mean?
So, like, if they can't get married in a mosque and have it recognized by the UK.
My understanding right now is that Islamic marriage is not part of it. It's not integrated into the Marriage Act the same way that Jewish marriage is.
I don't understand. I don't know that. So if that's true, yay UK. But I don't understand what the difference would.
Do you see? Yeah. He doesn't understand it. He doesn't know what it is. But yay UK because it's bad for Muslims. Like, this has weird energy to it. Like, I feel like sometimes I miss, like, racism that was more popular way back when. Like, I miss it when you'd listen to people like Eric Stryker or like that Mayo dude or whatever his name was, and they would just like outright start talking about like warrior genes and how black people are only good to work the fields and how they were only caught because like they're a subhuman subservient race who deserves nothing but the bottom of the heel, and you immediately knew who you're dealing with. And nowadays you have like these people who have like these, like, they couch it weirdly and they can't really say what they want to say because they don't want to get banned, but you know kind of how they feel. It's like this weak fucking breed of racism. It's just boring. It's just, dude's complaint boils down to Islamophobia. Like, Muslims bad. Islam bad, Muslims bad. That's all that he cares about. That's the full extent of his interest in any of this.
Be between going into a mosque and getting married to consenting adults, not like a underage
it's not exactly
girl or anything
enjoyable,
like that,
is it?
how that would not be recognized by the UK.
Quick pull up here. An Islamic marriage ceremony, or nikah, I might say that name wrong, is not legally recognized under UK law unless the couple also has a separate civil ceremony. The UK's Marriage Act of 1949 does not include Islamic marriages, meaning that without a civil ceremony, couples are not legally married and do not have legal rights and protections of marriage, such as financial, so on and so forth.
Okay. Yeah, and I would wonder what their argument is for that, right? I mean, is it potentially, I don't know this, I'm just asking, but is it potentially because of under Sharia law, sometimes they view marrying...
It's probably because at the time of them coming up with that act, Muslims just weren't on their mind, so they didn't mention them. Like, I would wager it's something like that that's just kind of really fucking boring at the end of the day. No, that's all, Drim.
15-year-olds as part of their doctrine, their religious doctrine.
You're saying that's why it's not recognized?
I'm asking if it is.
No, why, if that were the case, why would most of the sheikhs in these councils actually want to integrate into the Marriage Act? Because if they get integrated within the Marriage Act, there is no way that it's going to recognize any marriages under the legal age, which I think is 16 in the UK.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. I don't know.
They want that, as in they want.
It seems like neither of us know why. Neither of us know why.
I'm wondering. I think it's just because they're not holding like a specific ceremony and applying at the registry. So I feel like this could be resolved if they just a civil ceremony must be performed at a registry office or a religious building licensed for civil marriages. So what
would be the big deal with just what would be the big deal with just going?
That sounds even stricter than here in Poland. Here in Poland, I don't think you have to, if you have a civil marriage, I don't think it has to be in like a sanctified building or a sanctified area. Anywhere that the civil servant that has the ability to marry you is willing to go is a place where you will be able to get married. And that's just that, full stop. It could be in a fucking forest if you so desired. You just have to have the civil servant there with you. So it looks like the UK is stricter than Poland in this regard, in which case I can see why Muslims might have some kind, might feel some type of way about this, because it feels arbitrary, right? It makes sense to me why they'd want this changed, or why they'd advocate for it to change. Like, that's a weirdly strict requirement.
And registering and doing it the way that's part of the process of the country that you're in. Why do they need their own, or why do they need...
And also, again, the dude brought up Poland as an example of like the based cool place, and it looks like in Poland, Muslims wouldn't have this problem. They could get married, they could get civil marriage in any place of their desire, so long as the civil servant's fine with it.
Get integrated in. I don't understand, so I don't think you know the answer either, because otherwise you would have told me. But I guess we can find out why.
It's because people don't want to get two marriages. It's because they want to get married twice.
Yeah, I know, but if
their marriage was already recognized, and probably because it's an equality thing, because Jews get their marriages recognized in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just think it's weird. It's like there's a separate Muslim...
Okay, because we're circling the drain chat, I'm going to skip us to 1 hour and 2 minutes in, where they start talking about Poland. So, because I want to hear, I want to see, okay? Poland is where I'm at. Although I think I might have just lagged it.
Work. So I don't know if that applies to the UK, but if that is the argument, then I would need to look at the need to look at the reasoning behind that, because from what I can tell is most nations can sustain themselves without immigration. I mean, look at what Poland is doing. Poland's allowing in like immigration. 2%, I think it is, and
no, it's way more than that. Like I said, Poland, even with the statistics that we get, it's more than 2%. It's a couple of years ago it was 5%. It's going to be more than that right now. I could probably have a look at what it is currently. But another thing is that currently, when they did the statistics, and I think it was 2022 or 2023, in order for you to count as a foreigner here in Poland, you had to be a permanent resident. Any foreigner that wasn't a permanent resident wouldn't be counted as like that 5%. They would only look at permanent residents, which massively fucks with the numbers, because you have a shitload of immigrants who aren't permanent residents. So the fact that none of those were included poses a bit of a problem if you want to have like accurate numbers.
And they're doing just fine. so they don't need immigration.
Also,
and
fuck, I missed the big point here, right? Because we can yap about immigration as much as we want. No, we actually, it's a big scare here currently that we don't actually have enough people to replace the current working ones with. Like, we are looking at a demographical issue. There is a really fucking based program here in Poland. I can't find it because I don't remember what that hotel is called. There is a chain of... This is amazing, actually. Fuck, hold on. I would find it for you. One sec. See, being a based trad man, I just told my fiance to find me a very specific link I want to share with you, and she's immediately obeying me, okay? And they're talking about Sharia law, and look how cool I have it. Yeah, she'll find me the link in a sec, and I'll show you. There is basically there is a chain of hotels here in Poland who have recently they created this program where they don't like the fact that we are having an issue with demographics here in Poland, with like there is not enough Polish people being born, essentially. And they've created this thing where for as long as you can show them evidence of a receipt that your kid was born within 300 days of you staying at their hotel, they will throw either a christening party or a civil equivalent for up to 10 people for a price of up to 10,000 zlotys a person, which is about $2,500, entirely like on them. And the point of the program is that they want you to use their hotels to make a baby. I will find it for you. Yeah, my fiance's just found it. This is unbelievably fucking. It's made me laugh. I love this. It's just something about it that is incredibly fucking based. I'll show you. I'll show you in just a sec. Translate from Polish to English. It might be a rough translation, but it will be good enough for us to go through it. So it's this Arch, I'm not sure how they want their name to be pronounced, which is obviously supported by the European Union, and they have a program called Generations. In Poland, we have had more deaths than births for years, hence our population is constantly decreasing, not only because of negative natural growth, but also immigration, especially young people. Immigration in this context being like young people leaving Poland. According to the GUS data, the population at the end of December 2024 amounted to 37.49 million people, which means that it decreased by about 150,000 people compared to the state of a year ago. In turn, according to ZUS forecast, our population will be further reduced to about 36.57 million in 2029. Even quite optimistic models created by specialists from the populationpyramid.net portal indicate that this means a reduction of the population by nearly 1 million people in the next 10 years. If nothing changes, according to the demographic projections of the United Nations in the year 2100, there will be 14 million Poles, including about 7 million in working age, and in the year 2200, our population will be only about 4 million and further decline. Unfortunately, currently the negative demographics of Poland have an increasing impact on our economy. Stagnation, lack of hands to work, declining consumption, state finances, lower tax revenues, a greater burden on the pension and healthcare system, as well as on the quality of life and public services. Education administration. The main cause of this condition are low fertility, later childbirth and lifestyle changes, as well as an increase in life expectancy. So we have launched a program aimed at halting the negative demographic trend in our country. A series of incentives for employees, buyers of apartments and hotel guests is to include free special events on the occasion of birth, even a reward of 10,000 zlotys, motivating the birth of children. It is worth adding that Arch hotels also honor 10% discount resulting from the large family card and senior card, and children up to 3 years old are hosted for free. We would like to draw attention to the growing demographic problem, as well as encourage other companies to implement further promotional incentives. If you go down here, they have like the downloads with more details, and essentially, as long as you were in their hotel and presumably fucked, around the time when your kid was conceived, they will throw you a christening party for free. Got to make the stains an interesting image. Actually, to be fair, this is probably quite a fun topic to just make a video about, right? Just do like something about Poland news. It's a bit grim that private companies have to do what our government cannot, but at the same time, it's kind of fucking base that this is, that, like, they're actually trying, you know what I mean? You should capitalize on this, Chris. I was talking to my fiance about this a couple of days ago. I was, because what I was saying, it's not even that we're planning on having kids anytime super soon, but it's more so that they're like, it's just, like, why not? Use their services if we would get to the point of having kids, you know what I mean? Because you just have to stay in the hotel around the time. I have, like, bro, that if I take it upon myself to do this incredibly challenging task of having sex with my fiance inside of a hotel, they will pay for the christening of my kid or a civil party in place of christening if I'm not religious. Like, where are the drawbacks? At that point, I want to know if, like, I can name my kid after the hotel and we can just have, like, permanent stay for free. Like, what else can we pull out of this? Did you just say within 300 days? Just stay there every 300 days? No, sorry. The birth of the kid has to be like within I think it was like around 300 days from the time when you were at the hotel. Because the point is that they have to help you in conceiving the child, right? So you have to fuck in there basically. I mean, you wouldn't have to. You could fuck at home, then go there, just stay the night. But at the same time, if you're already there, you might as well fuck there as well, right? Like, why wouldn't you? It looks like they want you to do that.
I think that they're culturally comparable to the UK. So the argument that it is necessary
That's bad
to bring
business,
in
globalized.
immigrants,
Bad.
I don't think it's ever really been on solid footing. You may want immigration for whatever reason, but I don't think the argument is that it is.
The argument is very much there. This guy's full of shit, and him using Poland is nonsensical here.
Necessary.
It depends on what you mean by necessary, as in, like, people will probably still live. But I mean, if you want to talk about the standard of living in Poland versus the UK, forget about it. We have loads of Polish immigrants wanting to come to the UK, or we did before Brexit. Not many British people wanted to go to Poland, very unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
It's ironic you said that they're culturally similar. I mean, it's like Polish immigrants were one of the top targets for anti-immigration people in this country. We're quite different from America in that regard.
Also true.
We are quite broadly xenophobic when it comes to different groups. We're not really a melting pot. Poland, I think their population is about 8% immigrant, but in any case, like,
might be more than that now. 8% is from the the somewhat scuffed statistics. I imagine that if you had non-biased statistics, it would probably be that the number might be closer. Sorry, the number might be closer to 10. Advanced search racism. That's the thing. Like, Lonerbox says that, right? And God bless his cotton socks, he's not wrong. But at the same time, Lonerbox underestimates Polish people, okay? Polish people are so racist, like, it's so almost fucking ingrained in our DNA, that you will have this very specific breed of Polish people in the UK who are racist to other Polish people, because the UK is theirs and not that of the other Polish people. Like, that's some fucking advanced Stockholm syndrome type shit.
Is it just a coincidence to you that the most successful liberal democracies in the world have immigration?
Well, I'm not an anti-immigration person. What I'm saying is, if you don't have,
He's just anti-brown
assimilation
immigration
process for immigration, then the risks outweigh the rewards, right? I mean,
also, just on the note of Poland, it made me laugh because they did this thing on Twitter. They shared that, like, how based Poland is and how cool, and this is the proper white bastion of humanity. And they used footage from Warsaw, which out of every place in Poland is the most left-leaning, with the largest variety of cultures, and is the biggest melting pot that we have in the country. It is literally the one place in Poland that you shouldn't want to point to if you're anti-immigration, and that's Poland. We're not racists, you fucking bamboo. I actually don't know. I've heard bambusze used before. Does that have racist connotations in Poland? It probably does. Does it not? I actually don't know. I don't know why Autumn Mod caught it. I know it could have, if it may be. I don't. It's used against a white guy though. You know what I mean? In that case, I'm gonna have to deny it, Drim. Yeah, it's let's not throw slurs at people in chat. Even if we don't like the person.
Like the argument in America right now is over this like H-1B thing, where H-1B in theory it's a very good idea to bring the best of the best and the best.
See, again, there is a lot that he could point to. He just happens to point to another thing that impacts brown people, right? H-1B visas. The reason why there's a drama in the US happening around H-1B visas is because H-1B visas, the recipients of those are predominantly Indian, I believe. That's why there's a drama around it. So it's once again, the specific avenue of immigration that he has a problem with is the one that results in brown people.
Minds in the world to contribute to, you know, the American workplace, but it's being abused, and a lot of these people are just, you know, like clerks that are being brought in here that we don't need those people. So yes, I think that when you have an immigration system that is beneficial, and I would say rare or small, it is a benefit. But mass migration is what we're talking about. Mass migration, I don't think ever helps the country that it is imposed in, especially like in today's modern era, because there's so many multiculturalism that it doesn't really jive. As far as Poland, it looks like, I'm just reading. This is just Grok, so I mean, but it says it's one of Europe's fastest growing GDP. Has roughly doubled since 2005.
Yeah, because we are huge recipients of money coming in from the European Union. We have had a huge boost to our workforce from the Ukrainian immigrants as a result of the Russian invasion. And we have a shitloads of corporations becoming very cozy and comfortable in Poland because they can underpay us in comparison to how educated the populace here is. Like, mostly things that a right-winger should have a problem with. Plus also, he misrepresented the actual stats earlier.
Driven by foreign investments, exports. There are challenges like healthcare access and regional disparities, but it would be placed in the development index as very high. So, I mean, I don't know where you're getting your stats for Poland being like a bad place to live.
I mean, Poland's
Poland's
not. I'm not saying
that's not what he said. Yeah, go on, get him, Loner. Fight for the Poles.
Poland's a bad place to live. I'm just saying that compared to the UK in terms of standard of living, we absolutely annihilate Poland. Like that's the reason that when we had the European Union, lots of.
He's right. On like every level that you can analyze, he's correct, and yet I'm still offended by him saying this. I feel like I wanna call him racist, you know, even though he's correct, but I still feel some type of way about this.
Polish people came to the UK. Very few British people went to Poland. That's not surprising. And in terms of standards of immigration, I mean, I'm guessing you sound like you'd be perfectly okay with the Labour Party's policies because you have to earn quite a lot to get a visa working in the UK now under his policies. The English standard, that's actually been increased. You have to be able to speak a reasonable level of English to immigrate to the UK. I think the only exception that we make now, it used to be care workers and healthcare. They're taking away from care workers as well. Everything else is higher income, like high skill. So dependence, that's come down as well. It's a lot harder for students to bring their wives and kids over to the country when they immigrate.
So you're saying that in the UK you have to speak English to be an immigrant?
So there used to be a particular standard until just this year, and it's been increased. There used to be a fairly low standard. It's just gone up recently.
So just this year?
Yeah, but you still had to have there was a minimum. It's just been increased.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that my argument is if you embrace multiculturalism and put in a lot of people, I think 12 to 13% is a lot of people into a nation, especially over such a short period of time. When you increase the immigration by, or sorry, not I'm confusing statistics, but when you increase the immigration by, I think it was 44% over 10 years, you're going
44% from what number though? Right? Because that's what this boils down to. 44% increase could be when instead of 10 people, you now have 14 trying to immigrate into your country. But I don't think anyone would give a fuck about 14 people wanting to immigrate. So what is it a 40% out of? What is the baseline number that we are comparing this to?
going to create problems in that nation. I would say that that's mostly common sense.
Opinion on the new season of the regular show coming in 2026? I don't know what regular show is, D. I will tell you, do you know what show I'm actually looking forward to coming out in 2026? Third season of Interview with the Vampire. That shit's pure fire. If you want to watch a very intriguing and inviting drama about a gay relationship of two vampires and their adoptive daughter that spans over many different centuries of their lives, Interview with the Vampire, watch it. I have binged it recently. Very nice. I big recommend.
As far as multiculturalism goes, but then my other argument was to look up the statistics of crime, and I think that the rape statistics are very
fixed.
Problematic. I mean, 452% increase since 2002 is
again,
not,
but you cannot demonstrate how that's attributable to the immigrant population. That's because we're much more politically correct now. We're much more woke about issues with sexual violence. It's much easier to speak up about it now than it was 20 years ago.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I've pretty much made all my arguments, man. But I mean, I don't.
I remain unconvinced, and I'm literally as willing to hate on other people as they come, and I am thoroughly unconvinced. And I would have been the prime target for this shit. Literally love me Emperor, but you still shit the bed.
I think I've changed your mind. I don't think you changed my mind, but
well, I'm just curious what you think, like so you keep on appealing to things like values and ideology and incompatibility, but I'm just wondering, what are the overwhelming majority of Muslims in the UK, what are they doing that's incompatible with British values? Like, what's their day-to-day life like that makes it difficult for them to coexist with us in this country?
Well, you keep going back to the majority. I've already conceded that the majority of Muslims are perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with being a Muslim, right? But if you are looking at the statistics of how many Muslims, which follow a religious doctrine of, some form of Sharia law, those Muslims cannot be integrated into society. And since
okay, is there more mentioning of Poland? I want more Poland. I don't think there is any more Poland, though, sadly. Yeah, I think they're done. We're at 1 hour 8 minute mark. Let's see if Poland comes up again. No, it doesn't. Yeah, it's very, very disappointing that this dude sort of he just that's why I don't like it when these when this type of person starts using my country, my land, as a point of comparison, because they just don't know what the fuck they're talking about, at all. Can you search this transcript for Poland? I just did. Yeah, unfortunately, that was the last mention of it. Good job on Lonerbox. Obviously, I wish Lonerbox could have pushed back on certain points a little bit harder when it comes to Poland, but he already did a very good job. And frankly, if you're not Polish, then in order for you to have any level of interest in Poland, it would be weird for you to have any level of interest in Polish politics if you're not Polish, unless you are, for example, somebody who watches me and you like my takes and I talk to you about Polish politics, or if you're an Eastern European and then we all kind of, we have a lot to do with one another, so we're obviously somewhat knowledgeable on the politics of our neighbors. But generally speaking, yeah, it's just, the dude was just a fucking idiot, frankly. The dude was just an idiot. I don't know how I feel about Bronya being looked out of a turn here. I've got Fine on, but I don't know how to play him properly yet. I think now, if Bronya wasn't knocked the fuck out a second ago, it would be her second turn to... Maybe what I should do is maybe it's one of those we have to restart until essentially they don't target and stun one of your supports. Kind of shitty, but not exactly new, is it? Only reason I know anything about Poland. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, right? Like, regulars of mine like you will obviously know a decent amount about Polish politics, which hopefully will mean that you can push back against some of these fucking idiots in the future. But for most people, like Loner doesn't watch me, right? Because he doesn't know what's good for him. And he's nowhere near as based as he should be. And frankly, he only doesn't watch me because he's racist against Polish people. But if he wasn't any of those things, and if he was a regular viewer of mine, then obviously he would know more about Polish politics. But because he's not, he still did a very good job pushing back against this dude just chatting pure wham. You should announce the clip stream reward thingy. Yes, just as a quick reminder, on the off chance that you guys have missed this, if I could direct your attention to the announcement channel of my Discord tab, what you will see in there is that I am currently running an event in December for all of you guys, for my viewers. The terms of the event are very simple. Whichever person ends up clipping the most, like, best fragments of the stream that I can then turn into YouTube shorts and TikTok shorts, I will, at the end of the month, reward by buying you whatever it is that you want off of your Steam wishlist. So essentially like a game that you can get for free. And all you have to do in order to take part in the quote-unquote event is clip. If you find a funny moment during the stream, if you enjoyed something that I've said, if you essentially just do what you usually do and watch my content, you can clip it, and if it ends up being a good clip and I put it up on YouTube, I will do a tally of whose clip it is. I will credit you in the description as I always do, and whoever ends up contributing the most, I will buy a game for at the end of the month. So if there is anything on your Steam wishlist that you'd like, a little bit of a cheeky Christmas present, all you have to do is do the clipping. Five-minute delay between clip creation and clip being posted in chat. There is a delay just because it's an automatic search function, and the delay, I could make the delay smaller, but then I think it will just have to like scan shit more frequently, and I think this way it's much more like manageable this way, you know. Look at the clip, Chris. Yes, I shall look at the clip. Clip Chris tries to assimilate into German culture. I know what this is going to be. At this point, I could very easily, like, get a tattoo of a swastika somewhere on my body, and I could pass for German just as easily as I could for Polish. I mean, it is true. It is true. I could. That's fine, I was just curious. Yeah, it's a very cool thing. I'm quite impressed with myself that I've managed to add it into my streamer bot and that it works upon adding it. There was very little like tweaking of it that I had to do. And now that I know that I can add shit like this, I can probably find other cool things to add. Can we just appreciate how fucking cool this character is? He literally turns into a boss with his own domain and everything when you've got your ult charged up. Like, how fucking cool is that, bro? I want to get him to E2, but I'm out of Primo Gems, and he is E0. Damn it, Beans, I was going to clip that later. If there are cases where there are multiple people clipping the bit, then it's, like, you will all just get credited for it. Because that happens a decent amount anyway. My last, I'll show you a banger. This is also another thing, right? Super duper important. Because I'm gonna be saying mean things about you, all right? Hold on, I have, you and we have words to exchange, okay? Hold your fucking horses, chat. Hold your horses. My YouTube channel, shorts category, right? Comments. You can't sneak a stall for there. Yes, I can. We've got 3 comments. There should be 4 actually here. It's top is selected, so you'll see featured comments. Hold on, just show me all of them. Newest, that way. See? I am seeing some people in my chat right now who have not left a super cool, endearing comment on this short. And just listen to how amazing of a short this is, okay? And this one, credit for this one, where is it? Where is the description? Goes to Unix, because Unix did the clippy for this. Chris, would your fiancé support you being gay? I suppose she would, but I am so incredibly heterosexual that I am the chosen, super straight. Rachel Cavalli, Angelina Jolie, Hunter Schafer, all women I'd be down to clown with if single, but it doesn't stop there. It merely begins. Astolfo, Bond Cass, Ryan Reynolds, Keemstar, Shelob from Shadow of War, Spiderform included, even the Bowsette body pillow my fiancé got me at the anime expo we went to. I'm not necessarily saying I'm into any of the above, though I'm not saying I'm not either, but because I'm only attracted to women, whoever or whatever I'm attracted to becomes a woman, irrespective of what you might think about it. This is what super straight truly means, to be so extremely comfortable in your sexuality that you don't question yourself, but you know the truth of your soul. My fiancé has nothing to worry about. I'll go and play with Henry the Hoover now. Chris, would your fiancé... How good of a short is this, chat? How good of a short is this? And I ain't... Look, you gotta watch my shit, because we be uploading, okay? December is gonna be the month of shorts, you'll see. Also, I absolutely fucking hate how... Cycles used one. I don't know if I'll be able... I won't be able to do this in 2 cycles, because he fucking stunned everyone in my team a second ago, didn't he? This is gonna be completely fucked now. You gotta watch, okay? You gotta comment. That was a proper banger, if I've ever put one out. I did genuinely have fun editing that that short, which I oftentimes don't, so... Not that I don't have fun, I don't have, like, this level of fun. My friend found your Kershey video in the wild yesterday. Wait, the short where I was saying that, like, it feels bad to call Kershaw a retard because it doesn't feel like just an insult, but rather a diagnosis. That is, to be fair, I still stand by that to this very day. Got a lot of hate for that clip. There were a lot of Kershaw stans in the comments who... It wasn't just that they were unhappy, they, like, legitimately did not understand what I was saying in that. Like, they were genuinely confused. Broski's had the spirit, but not the mental capacity. That's pretty cool. In the wild. Yeah, that is super cool, though. That's nice to hear. It gives me extra motivation as well. Where does your wife stand on the gayification, though? Is she homophobic like Ice Beans? I don't think anyone's homophobic like Ice Beans, right? Like, that's just like a very, very high bar set. It would sort of be like if you were trying to compete with Hitler in your distaste for Jewish people, right? Like, obviously, it's not a fair comparison to begin with. It just isn't. Okay, I'm gonna... No point continuing because I've already gotten 2 stars on here. I need to keep investing in this team. Eventually it'll be doable. Just not quite yet. All right, let me put the game capture off because we don't need this. But okay, yeah. What was I? I told you about the December event. I told you about liking and commenting on my YouTube shit. I'll try and work on a YouTube video soon. I know I'm super behind on, like, actual YouTube uploads, but I'll try and make up for it a little bit this month. It's just work has been a fucking nightmare recently. I'm only just managing around, like, the new schedule and everything. Whatever the case might be, I am glad that you were here. I hope you had fun. I will be ending the stream now. I'll be raiding us out, and I will be back with you on Friday. I have to be in the office tomorrow, so I'm going to have to end it a little bit quicker today than I would have liked to, but we still did 3 hours and a little bit, so not too bad. In the meantime, I highly encourage you guys to follow, to like, to subscribe, to do all the good shit. Join my Discord if you haven't already. Join my Patreon as well. I highly encourage you to join my Patreon. There are free tiers as well. My Patreon is not just for the not just for paying members. I've also realized that that command still doesn't work, so I'll just paste the link manually. And I will be heading to bed. Let's see, who can I raid this into? Resi has been getting a lot of raids from me, Tice. I kind of want to show a little bit of love to someone else too. Because I did the Twitch recap thing, and Resi's my #1 person who I raid into most consistently. I want to broaden that out a little bit. Although to be fair, I haven't really found anyone. Do you know what? There is a streamer called VTuber Talk, and I think that is just like a form of interview with VTubers. So I'm just going to raid this into that dude. There we go. So the raid is preparing. Behave yourselves. Be nice. Be kind. I will be back with you on Friday, like I said. And in the meantime, I want to see more comments here, okay? Where are the comments, chat? See, we've got one more now. Semi's been based. I want you to comment that you adore my content so much. I want you to glaze me so much that people start thinking I'm buying comments. People will think that I'm paying some Russian bot to say nice things about me in chat. That's the level of glazing that I want to see. And it better be here, or otherwise we're going to have words on Friday. Take care now, and goodbye.